Yes, good morning. It feels like a very long time since we've done one of these. It was probably only Tuesday, but it does feel like a very long time. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Look who I've got with me. Somebody that we never row. There's never drama. We agree on everything. Lubo, happy Friday. The sun is shining. How are you?
Yeah, welcome to the echo chamber, Knots. Good morning. And morning everyone watching today.
The echo chamber of rows. Sounds like a really shit Harry Potter film, doesn't it? How are you?
All good. All good. It's Friday. It's the draw. Looking forward to this. It's all we got left this season.
Yeah. It's all on this. Oh, hang on.
You know,
Nearly a goal.
We got a 1 in 16 chance of winning. So,
yeah.
Who knows?
Well, listen. Sorry for those who wonder why I just suddenly went off on a tangent with nearly a goal. I've put on TNT ready for the 11 a.m. Champions League draw, and I've turned it over. And one of Angie's teams are currently live on TNT. I'm watching the Newcastle Jets versus the Brisbane Roar. I'm watching that game at the moment, and I can see why Ange did well in this standard of football. But anyway, Luba, it's been really interesting. Things that have happened this week. Tottenham apparently have been taken over by Qataris, even though I've seen absolutely no evidence of this. Tottenham are going to have are going to find out today at 12-ish. We'll be live for it. Are going to find out at 12 whether we get AZ Alkmaar or Real Sociedad. Dutch teams going well this year in Europe. Spanish teams going well this year in Europe as well. We're going to find out. And thirdly, I've started a new channel, Lubo, and I'm shamelessly going to ask if everybody hasn't. All I'm asking is help me out, people. All I'm asking is help me with that initial burst. Currently, we're at, after one day, we're at 109 subscribers. I'm hoping with everybody in here that if they really truly are friends of Football Heritage TV, they will smash that subscribe button. The link is pinned. Just to give everybody a little bit of background, it is called FHTV Plus, and it is so that I can do videos about all other clubs. It's so that I can talk about the Liverpool Uniteds, the Newcastles, the Fulhams, the Aston Villas, my second team, Lubo, the Chelseas, the Arsenals. So please, the link is pinned. It would really help me if you would subscribe, people. Thank you very much. You will see me shamelessly asking throughout the show. Lubo, I've talked a lot there.
Yeah, we need everybody to come in and subscribe, get the channel up and running, and then there's going to be Football Heritage TV Europe. That will be the next one to come in. And you'll have as many channels as Sky Sports have. That's the aim, isn't it?
Eat your heart out. So big up to everyone in the chat that is now saying, yes, you just subscribed. My video coming out today is why Liverpool will win the league and Arsenal won't. Yesterday's was about Man City getting absolutely schooled by Real Madrid is the only way I can put this. But Tottenham, Lubo, as things go, this week's been fairly quiet in the land of Spurs. A few murmurings about Qatari takeovers, which have got no real weight at all. But it's been fairly quiet, hasn't it?
Thank goodness.
Not for a YouTuber, no. Not thank goodness.
But you know when it's quiet when no one pulls a hamstring. I mean, that's, that's a good start.
Yeah, mate, absolutely. Sorry, someone's just missing me. Sorry, I completely went off the ball there. Went off the mind. Yes, good that it's been quiet. We're always in the news, Spurs, aren't we? It feels like we're the biggest club that never win anything, but are always in the news for something. And it's normally something to do with our owners or sacking a manager or something embarrassing. But this week has been quiet. But this morning, Lubo, let's start with, we have got a Europa League. I want to say a draw. It's for me, this is going to be a boring draw, but interesting all at the same time. The boring part is we know which one of the two teams we're going to get. But like you rightly pointed out to me backstage, Lubo, I was going to call you Kubo, who plays for Real Sociedad, one of the teams we get. it's going to be more interesting from the fact of what's the actual path to the final, right? Is that fair to say?
Yeah. Well, listen, Gala have gone.
Yes.
Porto have gone.
Yes.
So there's two decent sides that have gone. I can't actually, we had a discussion argument about Tottenham first team against Gala, and that we'll never know this season whether which one of us will be correct. So no, listen, you've got Lazio, Bilbao, Frankfurt, Man U, maybe even Rangers to throw in there. So there's.
Can I give you the dark horse? Can I tell you my dark horse for it?
Go on.
I've said all season I think Bilbao will win it. My dark horse is a team that are coming into their own massively. Roma. Roma are in superb form, and watching them play last night, Lubo, they looked excellent. They just looked a really good football team.
I haven't seen any football from last night. I just saw some reports. It just said that Roma left it late to win to get through.
Well, they went 1-0 down in calamitous style, like the sort of error that Spurs would make at the back to allow a team to go 1-0. Then they went 2-0 up by a guy who was very, very impressive, which was Dybala. I'm all over the place today. Dybala scored two very, very good goals. I remember Spurs fans saying they wouldn't want him, which blows my mind. He scored two goals. Then Porto went down to 10 men. So it was 4-2 on aggregate. It was 4-2 on aggregate for a long time. And then Porto scored in the 96th minute. So it was close in score, but really throughout the game, it wasn't. But listen, I think Dilly Dong, old Claudio Ranieri's done an absolute brilliant job. So Roma, Lazio, Bilbao, Rangers, Man United are there, Spurs are there. There's some
and Frankfurt as well.
Frankfurt, Fenerbahce there? Are they in our group?
Yes, they're Fenerbahce are through as well. I think they're the last of the Turkish sides to the left.
So it could be very. Who do you want? Let's start with that. We can get AZ Alkmaar, who we've already played, or we can get Real Sociedad, who are kind of mid-table, not having the greatest league campaign. They've had some very good the last couple of years have been very good. This year they've dropped off a little bit. Who would you prefer to get in today's draw?
Sure. If I had to pick one, then I'll probably say the Dutch team. I think out of the two. And it's going to be easier for me to get there because we'll just get on the Eurostar to Amsterdam, and I think it's an hour from there. So what do I think? Alkmaar for me.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because when we played them, I didn't think they were too bad. I didn't feel they had a lot, but I didn't think they were too bad. But they picked up some good results this season along the way. They have done some good bits. I would say a lot of these teams we're talking about seem to have a very similar stance to Tottenham in terms of some good stuff, some bad stuff. And I guess that's what makes this Europa League quite interesting, right? Is I don't think there's anyone in there that you go, whoa. Like I think Bilbao will win it, but I'm not going to sit there and go, no one can touch them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Listen, you make Bilbao favourites. The final's on their ground as well. I think they are not that far away from Real Madrid and Barcelona, who are joint top in La Liga.
What's that, Bilbao?
Yeah, I think they're on 45. They're fourth behind Atletico and the big two.
Yeah, they're 6 points off the top. I mean,
thought so, which shows they're having a good season.
Well, Bilbao are the team that only take players from the Basque region, right?
Yeah. Whereas Lazio, everyone's talking about Lazio. I think they're 11 points off the top. But they're nowhere near. When you look at it, they're nowhere near the likes of Napoli or Inter. But Lazio are a good team. I don't think Lazio are unbeatable. They're a good team. They like to overload. They like to play the two in front of the back four.
And I think what you see with all of these teams, Roma, Lazio, all these Italian teams, it's almost like they've got that trait, that Italian trait of when they need to, Lubo, they know how to grind it out. My question is, do Spurs, when we need to, I'm not talking about one game v Brentford, I'm talking about when we need to, do we know how to grind it out with a really solid defensive performance?
Well, you would hope that Romero and Van der Ven will be back in for the 6th of March, or if not 6th of March, 13th, for the second leg. Can we grind it out? Listen, we ground it out with a reserve back four virtually at Brentford. Brentford score against everybody at home, don't they? So
but are you going to put Brentford on the same pedestal as Lazio, Roma, Bilbao? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I would put them in the next level down.
I just think we've had some great results this season and some shocking results. Mm-hmm. So it's literally, you don't know what Tottenham's going to turn up on the day.
Oh, for sure.
They could draw Bilbao, sweep them aside, or get beaten 5-0 on aggregate. You just don't know. Mm-hmm. So
for anyone asking, by the way, it's the Champions League draw is at 11 a.m. and then the Europa League draw is at 12 p.m. I was going to say 12 a.m. at 12 p.m. So we're 40 odd minutes away from the Champions League draw, and we're an hour and 40 minutes away from the Europa League draw. Sean wants Bodo Glimt. Bodo Glimt, who always do very well. They play some good stuff. They do very well, and they've had a real. If anyone hasn't, go and check them out. What they've done in the last 10 years or so. They've had a brilliant rise up the ladder.
I think Bodo Glimt are one of the two teams that could be playing Rangers.
Yes, so let's have a look. So Perchi very kindly, he's good with this sort of stuff. Perchi did very kindly send me all this stuff last night, because gone are the days where you used to just draw what they're going to play them. Now it's all very convoluted. So Bodo Glimt or it's going to be Bodo Glimt or Fenerbahce versus Rangers or Olympiacos. So that could be interesting. So we could see a Bodo Glimt, as you said, versus Rangers. I'd quite like to see Jose's Fenerbahce go to Rangers. I think that would be a real tasty time.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about this, right? Fenerbahce. Imagine we get them later on down the line with all of the links. You think about all of the links that are there. You've got Jose Mourinho, obviously, from the manager link. You've got Skriniar that we wanted for ages, who's now their main centre back. That would just be box office, wouldn't it? Spurs in a two-leg affair with Fenerbahce.
I think Jose will get a great response, a great reaction from the fans. I really do. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely. He got pushed out 6 days before a League Cup final. For the Spurs fans, the managers come in. I think we were 7th at the time. We were top at one stage. He's got us through to a League Cup final. Why would they give him a hard time?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of fans that gave him a hard time before he even joined, though, with the obvious Chelsea links.
Sure.
People are talking about how boring his football was. I watched his Fenerbahce team play last night. I watched the first bit of that before I actually flicked over to. I watched a bit of Roma, Porto. Then I went out for dinner with the missus. Then I came back and watched a bit of that game while it was interesting with the scoreline. I watched a bit of it, and then when it wasn't, I went over to Shamrock Rovers to see if Shamrock could knock out Mulder.
Did they knock him out?
No.
Shamrock through.
Mulder won on penalties. 5-4 on penalties in the end. But right in the last minute, so Mulder won the second leg 1-0 after Shamrock won the first leg 1-0. But Mulder had a man sent off in like the 93rd minute. So they played all of extra time, Mulder, with 10 men, but Shamrock just couldn't break it down. And then one poor bloke missed a penalty. But yeah, watching the Fenerbahce team, they did not look boring. When we're talking about people talking about how Jose plays and it's negative, his team were going for it. They played some good stuff. So I think that would be a blockbuster 2 legs. I truly do. The mind games of Jose, I think that would be another level to see how much he rattles Ange Postecoglou. I really do. I really do. Oh, in the chat, here's my first question to you. Let me know who do you think we're going to get today? Who would you prefer? Sorry, who would you prefer we get today? Alkmaar or Real Sociedad? And then please let me know, who do you think is going to win it? Don't put Spurs. Other than Spurs, if you had to say someone was a favourite to win it, who would you say? Otherwise, I'll just have a sea of Tottenham, and it makes for a very, very boring discussion. And thank you so far to the 25 people that have subscribed this morning to my channel, my second channel. It is pinned, so if you wouldn't mind subscribing, that would be absolutely amazing. So thank you very much. Sean has said Lazio are still playing Pedro. Barcelona fame Pedro, yes. And he must be as old as Ange. If we're going to look at how old Pedro is, I think he must be 37. Let's have a look. So if we go to Italy, Lazio, who are 10 points off the top, by the way. You've done him a disservice there. Pedro is 37. He's going to be 38 in July. This season, grabbed himself 5 goals in the league, and he's grabbed himself... The Europa League seems to be his little plaything. 8 games, 7 goal contributions for Pedro. I mean, look, going back to where we were before, Athletic Bilbao, for me, I've said, are the favourites, Lubo. I mean, the final, for a start, is at their ground. The final is going to be... So for them, it will be like playing a home game if they get to the final. But they are in the draw. They could end up today with Roma, which is a potential... That's a slippery one. That'll be a bloody good double header, that. Athletic Bilbao, do you make them favourites? I know you think Spurs are going to win it, but you make them favourites?
In terms of where all the teams are in their respective leagues, I think they are probably... I think Frankfurt are quite high up as well, aren't they? But they've just lost Mamouche, which is a big blow for them. And I think the week after he went, I think Hoffenheim drew with them 3-3. This is the Hoffenheim that we should have actually buried. 2-2, was it?
2-2.
Yeah.
Yeah, Frankfurt have their last 5 games in all competitions. They've only won 1 in their last 5 games, and that was against...
Okay. Well, that shows
was against Kiel, who are bottom of the Bundesliga. So they're not in good form. They are 3rd in the Bundesliga, but they're not in good form. But a very capable team with some good players.
There we go. So Elliot's just put Rome will be playing either Lazio or Bilbao.
Yeah.
Cool. A Roma-Lazio derby.
I mean, look, it's good because it means that Roma and another, either Lazio or Bilbao, one of them is going to get knocked out, which is good for us. That's good for us. I would expect the other team to go through. I believe that the other team they'll be playing is Ferencváros. If I've got it right, it will be Ferencváros.
They're out. I think Pilsen got through. I think Ferencváros are out. Let's
have a look. Sorry, you might be absolutely right. Let's have a look. Thursday, Europa League. Sorry. Oh, they beat them 3-0. Wow. Okay. So yes. I'll get back to my point. Still stands. I think Pilsen will go out to either Bilbao or Lazio, if we're going to be brutally honest about it. So listen, watch out for that. Now, in the other possibles today, Lubo, you've got this. You've got Bodo Glimt or Fenerbahce will play Olympiacos or Rangers. You've got Steaua Bucharest or did Union St. Gilloy knock out Rangers?
Ajax went through.
Ajax, they scraped through. So you've got Union St. Gilloy or Ajax versus either Frankfurt or Lyon. And in the last bit, you've got AZ Alkmaar. It's R1. AZ Alkmaar or Sociedad versus Man United or Tottenham. I mean, Man United, they'll fancy a bit of Alkmaar, won't they? Or are they in such bad form that they won't fancy anyone?
Do you know what? Really, apart from Bilbao and maybe Lazio, no one's in great form, are they? League-wise. And no one's doing fantastic. You know, Rangers are miles off Celtic. United are down with us. Frankfurt, as you said, have lost, have won 1 in 5. So for me, it's, I don't know. Listen, we've won 2. We're getting players back. We just need to hopefully get Solanke back quickly and the 2 centre backs, and then for me, we got half a chance.
Yeah,
we got half a chance. Just don't know.
I don't think we've got half a chance at all. As I said, the reason we've not got half a chance is this manager over 2 legs, I do not trust to outwit some of these managers. That, as I said, I can't imagine him going to Roma, for example, in a 2-legged tie, and outwitting Ranieri and breaking down Roma. I could be very wrong. I could be very wrong, but from what I've seen of this manager, one-off games maybe over 2 legs. I think we saw it against Liverpool. He just doesn't know how to set up. He just doesn't know how to protect. So we'll see. We'll see. It's a strange one, right? Because I was watching it last night. I was watching the number of teams that play in Europe, and it just feels now that like everybody in the world seems to have a buy into a European competition. It's like half of every league, Lubo, gets a European place every year almost. Are we watering down all of the European competitions by the sheer volume of teams playing in Europe every year?
I think European competition was watered down 30 odd years ago when they brought out the Champions League, because before then it was literally just the champions, and then the UEFA Cup was brilliant because you had teams from 2nd, 3rd, 4th in their leagues, and the UEFA Cup was fantastic. The Cup Cup that was big in the 60s when we won it became relegated to the 3rd. That was the 3rd trophy.
Yeah.
And everybody. So you got the 4 top teams in all the main European leagues are now in the Champions League, plus extra, plus coefficient. So you finished up with 36. So there's pretty much your best 36 teams in Europe. And then you got tier 2. So, I mean, you got over 100 teams now in Europe, which is great for, because you've got more teams from more European countries now.
Yeah.
That are participating, which is great, which brings about, which brings more fans on board. They've got greater coverage. It's great for football.
Yeah.
Has it watered down the tournaments? Definitely.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, do you know what? This season, across the 3 European competitions, there's 108 teams in Europe, Lubo.
108.
And it just feels, I don't know, like I get it, marketing, money, all of that kind of stuff. But when it gets to that stage, like, what is it? 36 teams enter the Champions League. And you're like, I mean, there aren't 36 leagues in Europe. You know what I mean? Like, how are we calling this the Champions League?
The problem you've got is UEFA have got a constant fight. They've constantly got people like Fiorentina Perez of Real Madrid pushing for European Super League. Because he's completely thinks he's entitled to like massive money every single year. That's what you got. So this will continue. I mean, I don't know how much more padding UEFA can put onto these competitions now. You've got 8 group stages. You've got playoffs involved as well now. So I mean, it has virtually taken over the midweek fixture allocation, virtually in all the leagues.
Yeah, so, I agree with you.
So I just got the front door. Give me 1 minute.
I heard it. Yeah, let me know in the chat, people. What do you think? Like, is it too much? Oh, hang on. Lubo doesn't know how to mute himself, so I'll mute him for him. Is he back?
Yeah, I'm back.
He's back. Let me know in the chat what you think, guys. Like, there are a lot of teams. They're competing against the Super League. Let me know what you think of the new format. Does this format work? Are these knockout games this early in the season, the playoff games, are they unnecessary? did they need to do that? Is there a different way? Have they overcomplicated what was a very simple system? You let us know in the chat. Yeah, it's an interesting one, Lubo. Just so people know, and thank you to all those that have subscribed to my new channel. We've had 35 people who have this morning. Surely we can get to 100 of you doing that. I'm going to pop the link in again. It is pinned. Shamelessly asking. I'm asking my family, my FHTV family, for a little bit of support. There it is. You don't have to leave. Just quickly click on there, press subscribe, and it really does help it circulate around YouTube so other people could like and subscribe, please. Thank you very much. And if you haven't liked this channel, this show so far, please do. 85 likes. I really appreciate every single one of you. If we have a look at the Champions League side of the draw, just quickly before we go on to some takeover talk, it's PSG or Benfica versus Liverpool or Barcelona. So that could be two very tasty games there. You could be looking at PSG versus Liverpool or PSG versus Barcelona. So that's going to be tasty. And PSG are a different proposition now. PSG are a well-oiled unit rather than lots of superstars. In the other sections, you've got either Dortmund or Bruges versus Lille or Villa. I think Villa will be quite happy with that, either Dortmund or Bruges, if we're honest there. This is the big one. This is the big one, Lubo. Either Madrid or Bayern, Real Madrid or Bayern, versus either Atletico Madrid or Bayer Leverkusen. So that stars two brilliant games, whoever gets who. And then we've got the Arsenal's little bit. You've got PSV or Feyenoord, so the two Dutch teams, versus either Arsenal or Inter Milan. I would fancy Arsenal to knock both of those out, by the way. I'm just saying. I know, don't want to hear it, but I do think they'll have too much for PSV.
I think so. Keep them busy till the quarterfinals at least. Players will get tired. They'll drop away from Liverpool more and more. That's what we want.
Is Ellie bringing in my sarcastic WhatsApp message from a WhatsApp group into my chat? First of all, Ellie, what we talk about in WhatsApp groups stays in WhatsApp groups. Second of all, no, it was tongue-in-cheek. I do not think Aston Villa are winning the Champions League. Jesus. This is how things circulate around YouTube, Lubo.
Listen, according to Ellie, Højbjerg is going to win the French Player of the Year, I think.
She said the Ballon d'Or, didn't she? She said he's going to win the Ballon d'Or. Yeah, Ellie thinks.
There you go, Ellie. Højbjerg for the Ballon d'Or.
Yeah,
you heard it first.
Say that, by the way, people. She did not, and I did not. Oh, just completely out of context. No, but listen, I think Villa and either Bruges, good team, but I think Villa would fancy taking them to Villa Park, especially in a second leg. I think Villa will be fairly happy. I think Arsenal will be fairly happy with whoever they get as well. But Liverpool possibly in a 2-leg with PSG. That would be really interesting, wouldn't it? Liverpool versus PSG this early stage.
Yeah, big super game.
Yeah,
one thing that surprised me this week was 3 Italian teams going out. I mean, you didn't see Atalanta losing at home to Bruges, did you?
Well, no. I had them in an ACCA, so no. I didn't see that. But Bruges are I'll tell you what, the Belgian league, it's something Sean and I talk about quite a lot. The Belgian league, that's where you got to scout. The players that come out of Belgium, honestly, we all talk about there's no good leagues out there. Belgium produces so many good players. And it's the guy I said the other week, is it Tabli, whatever his name is, Telelbi, the winger for Bruges is a real diamond of a footballer. But listen, let's move away from that. That draw will be in 25 minutes, by the way, and we will bring that live to you. Thanks, Mick. He's asking when the charity stream is. The charity stream is going to be on the Friday the 7th, 8 p.m. through to Saturday the 8th, 8 p.m. It's a killer. It's a killer of a 24 hours to do, but we are going to do it, and I'll let you know the charity soon and the details very, very soon. I'll be sorting that out early next week, so watch out for that. I'll have over 40 YouTubers and guests throughout the 24 hours. And they normally descend into absolute carnage and rows about everything and anything to do with anything. But the most important thing, Mick, is over the last 2 years, we have raised over £20,000 for charities. We've raised money for the earthquake appeal. We've raised money for mental health and for Andy's Man's Club. And we've also raised money for the Heart Foundation as well. Not the wrestling tag team. We've raised money for the British Heart Foundation. Sorry. I haven't raised money for the Bret the Hitman Hart and Anvil. We've raised over 20 grand. And this time this time it's going to be for something very close to my heart. It's going to be for dog charities. So I'm going to work out who that's going to be. Maybe something to do with service dogs. And trust me, dogs are absolutely amazing. And if you haven't got one, get one, because they are the best thing you'll ever do. Lubo, after I've shamelessly plugged that, Spurs are being taken over by Qataris, apparently. A load of codswallop. Any truth in it? What do you make of it all?
Don't see it happening. Don't see anything that's anywhere close. I think you had all the publicity about the march by change for Tottenham last weekend, and all of a sudden this gets thrown into the equation. No, not a chance. It's all distraction, deflection, trying to put people off from marching. That's all that is. It's a bit like, whenever the season tickets are coming up for renewal, we're in for Messi, or we're in for Ronaldo, or we're in for, you know what I mean? It's exaggerated a little bit, but
the season tickets are on sale on Saturday, and we're signing Messi on Sunday. So watch this space.
That's right.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? I feel like it's like with anything at Spurs. We have a lot of copium, don't we? We do. As Spurs fans, we are so starved of anything good. Like, we are so starved of winning trophies. We're so starved of signing top players that any little rumor we hear, any little buzz we hear about, Tottenham are being sold to this state in the world, we all go, oh my God, it's happening. And I've lost count over the last 2 years how many different consortiums are meant to be buying us and never actually do, Lubo. It's just all white noise. It's just white noise for me.
Well, listen, that's hopefully at some stage in the next few years, it will sell. I mean, Joe Lewis is 88. Why does he want to be still involved? He's made his money. Thank you very much.
Does he need money to sell at 88? Like, I'm guessing away from Spurs, he's got a few £1 billion sitting around in the bank.
Well, sometimes you're asset rich and cash poor.
No,
everything's relative. Everything's relative. Let me just say it before people say Lubo's saying Joe Lewis is cash poor. Not cash poor as against normal people like us. I'm talking about, in terms of billionaires. He might have, but if you're 88, you might want to liquidate your assets.
I tell you what was brilliant. I'm going to clip this later. Lubo says that Joe Lewis, who has a net worth of $6.3 billion, is poor. That's going to be my title. Lubo says Joe Lewis, Spurs owner, is poor. That's just going to be it.
You're gonna clip out the second part of my comment, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, that's what people do, isn't it? Isn't that what the clickbaiting's all about? Adam, it's going to be all content. So it's purely videos, no lives over there. Purely videos, a video or two a day, maybe just one to start with, about everything. Transfer news, competitions, other clubs, everything. Big breaking news, scandals, drama. Just as I said yesterday, Adam, I'm a football fan, not just a Spurs fan. I want to be able to talk about all things football. And unfortunately, Spurs fans seem very reluctant. Whenever you talk about anything else, they go, stop, just talk about Spurs. And we're one of the only fan bases like that.
1 minute.
So
1 minute. 1 minute, Sav.
Yeah. How many times did he need to say that? I heard him the first time. Yes, we're going to start a GoFundMe page for Joe Lewis. Look, I've seen it. I've seen all the links this week, last 2 weeks, guys and girls, to, are we going to are we going to be selling to the Qataris? And there were tweets from different people saying, I can confirm it's going ahead. And then tweets from people saying, I can confirm that there's absolutely zero to it. Look, I think it's because because a lot of people want this to happen now, we start believing things more, don't we? I think that's a natural thing in life. If you want something to happen, you believe it that little bit more than maybe your the common sense part of your brain that's telling you, I know this is absolutely rubbish. The common sense part says that, but the hope part of you says this might happen, you know. So it's very, very interesting, isn't it? By the way, just while Lubo's away, let me plug today at 3 p.m. I am live with Lee Gunner. It was meant to be yesterday. We had to postpone to today. So I will be live today until 12:30 and then back on at 3 with Lee Gunner. We're going to have an interesting conversation about all things football and our football club. So please don't miss that. Hit the bar. I said all smoke, no substance. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? You know, hit the bar, because some people will say, oh, well, you know, there's no smoke without fire. But I agree with you. I think this is a lot of smoke, no substance. I think we would know, right, if this was going on. I truly believe that we would know if something was going on. Billy said, I'd rather it not happen to Qataris. Well, again, this is the interesting thing, isn't it? I've seen many debates over the last few weeks about, well, I'll sell, but I won't sell to them. I won't sell to them. I wouldn't want them. The problem you've got with that is somebody's going to be offended by whatever happens. Yeah. You know, there is no ideal. When we're talking about billionaires, when we're talking about consortiums that can put together £4.5–5 billion to buy a football club, to buy everything, there's always going to be a few skeletons in the closet, isn't there? There's going to be a few skeletons. There's going to be some shadiness, some dark arts. There's going to be something. By the way, you guys and girls, there's 312 of you in here and only 112 likes. Absolutely shit. We're getting really bad at that on this channel. Smash that like button, people. And please do keep subscribing. This is where we are at the moment. I'll show you there. This is where we are. 150 subscribers. Only started it yesterday. If we can get up to 200, I'd be really grateful to every single one of you. It really would help. The link is pinned. So please, if you could all surge over that. There's 312 of you. Surely you could help me out. I'm asking for a little bit of help. I don't often ask for help, but if you could, that would be absolutely amazing. Come on, it's Savva. I'm your guy. I'm your go-to guy for the morning. So if you can help out, that would be great. Lubo, just saying, lots of people have been having the conversations this week, like they always do when there's a potential takeover. Of, I want to take over, but I don't want it to be them from the Middle East. I want to take over. I don't want it to be Americans. I want to take over. I don't want it to be them. Are we in danger if we start doing that, Lubo, of trying to find the dream owners where they're all squeaky clean and they've never done anything bad, when our current owners aren't squeaky clean either? So is there a little bit of a, I don't know, is that a very grey area for you in terms of where the new owners come from?
Listen, it's what can I say? It's just a question of getting people in, for me, that want success for the club. You know, ideally you're going to find a self-made billionaire who was brought up in Lordship Lane in N17, but you're not going to do that, are you? So no, it wasn't a call of nature. Actually, I've just seen the comments. I nicked out. My pal who I travel with was calling. I just said, I'm on the podcast. Do what you got to do. Book what you got to book. Eurostar puts prices up to £200 now to Amsterdam because they've obviously got United or Spurs coming in. So wait and see. It's probably going to be cheaper if it's Holland to go by plane, believe it or not, than by Eurostar. But there you go.
Well, we'll drive there, Lupo. Have a little drive to.
Could drive. Can't be arsed. I drive for a living. I don't want to drive when it comes to a trip abroad. Listen, it's a question of getting the right people in. Who the only thing I worry about is people that come in an asset strip. But I just think that if people are going to come in and spend 3 or 4 billion, why would they asset strip? They've got plenty of money.
Yeah.
That's right. Billionaires are never squeaky clean. So let's get people in that want success and going to bring the glory days back to Spurs.
Mm. Yeah, it's very difficult for me. I try to stay very clear of politics like that, Lubo. I saw a lot of people were very unhappy with when Newcastle were taken over, and then look how quick that all died down. Look, do you remember at the time when it happened, it was, oh my God, Newcastle condone this. And I remember them asking Eddie Howe, and I thought he was brilliant the way he answered it. And he was like, look, I'm the football manager. I'm not paid to sit here and answer questions about politics, religion. I'm here to talk about football. If the owners come in and want the best for the club, my job is to manage that club. And I feel like that's where we should be as fans. But anyone but Levy will do. Like, he loves it. Absolutely loves it. Oi, thought you were walking your dog. Your dog.
How? Sorry, Sean. I'm sorry. I'm not having that. Anyone but Levy. You've got to have someone that wants success for the club. I'm not having this. You know what? What sort of fan are you? Come on.
I'm hoping Sean turns up and we get another epic Sean Lubo debate. I love them.
Well, I'm on Sean's show tonight at 5. So
nice.
I'm just wondering whether he's going to come on and just say he's been appointed to the board yet. So we'll wait and see. That's
what we need. We need Sean to get a consortium together and buy it. Sean, I don't know. We'll start a GoFundMe and have Sean as the chairman of the football club, and he can come out and give us a talk once a week on his channel as to why they've done what they've done. But listen, I jest. Big up Sean, and maybe he might be popping on in a bit. When the Spurs go marching in, big up to you, my man. Hope you're well. I said, I don't care who comes in, as long as they concentrate on the pitch, I'm happy. I think that for me would be a sentiment I would share, Lubo. I think as long as they come on and concentrate on what we've not been concentrating on would be good for me. The stadium's done, right? Yeah. All is in place with the NFL and all of that, all of the training. This is all done. We need to see the pitch. We need to see the pitch being looked at.
It's the best turnkey operation, for someone to come in and buy. Mm-hmm. It's all there. You look at United, they've got to spend God knows how much. What are they going to spend on a new ground? 3 million? A billion, sorry, million, billion, 3 billion.
I was going to say 3 million. What are they building?
Billion.
What are they building? A park?
Oh, it's moved on a bit, hasn't it? 3 billion.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just for Old Trafford. It's all done at Spurs. Let's get some owners in who are gonna run the club properly, financially correctly, but also spend enough to make us competitive. Yeah.
No, absolutely. A big up to Lee Enigma. I said, what a great pair. I shall call them Subo. By
the way, Angus in the comments thinks we're worth 2 billion.
Mate, stolen my
Angus, you're mixing us up with Arsenal, mate. Come on.
You've stolen my thunder. I was coming to that next. You've stolen it. Angus, we are not worth 2 billion, mate. We just built a stadium for like 1.1 billion in the end? It cost
1.2, I think it was. Yeah.
Angus, have a day off. Listen, whether we're successful or not, banter us about, right? You can't banter us on how much we're going to be worth. Tottenham Hotspur are not being sold for £2 billion. You think Daniel Levy and Enoch built a 1.2 billion stadium and regenerated the whole of Tottenham, built that training ground, the hotels, the concerts and that to sell it for 2 billion?
I think that's what Kroenke might get for the Gooners, but not for Spurs.
Yeah. It's funny. Big up to Alex McCarthy. So do you think 4 billion is a reasonable valuation? Lubo, 4 bill?
No, not as much.
You don't think it'll be 4 bill?
No.
Oh, I think it'll be between 4 and 4.5.
No, I think probably more like 3.5 is probably a more reasonable valuation.
Okay, but not 2.
No, not no. So, as I say, 2's Arsenal, 3.5's Tottenham.
Yeah, Ellie there confirming that she would she does think that Højbjerg will win the Ballon d'Or. That's how I'm reading this comment. I don't know about you, Lubo. If I pick the words, she said, I really like Højbjerg as a player. He's got a chance of winning the Ballon d'Or. I've just removed a few words to rearrange Ellie's sentence there. So big up to you, Ellie. She's got the link. Never comes on anymore. By the way, to you lot, we are 37 away from the 200. Smash that button for me. Also, please do keep subscribing to this channel if you haven't already, as we're chasing down 17,000. So thank you very much. And as I said, I'll caveat this with, I'm not an Arsenal fan, a Liverpool fan, a Chelsea fan. I'm doing the other channel because I like talking about football. And, you know, when this becomes your full-time job, unfortunately, you have to do what you have to do. Lubo, yeah, it's interesting. Billy, my mate Billy, wouldn't it feel much better if we win trophies the right way? Lubo, I've heard this right way for so many years. Wouldn't it be great if we won it ethically, the right way? I don't know what that means anymore, right? If we're going to be brutally honest. And 2, who is winning it the right way? What does that mean in your eyes, Lubo?
Well, the right way. What is the right way? I mean, you've got FFP, PSR. You can't break the rules now. So whoever's doing it now, you know, City will get pulled, I'm sure, for those 115. Somewhere down the line, they're going to get hit. They're going to get hit with something.
Yeah, but it won't be massive. You know,
I wouldn't have thought so.
They're not going to get relegated. I think City will get slapped with like a £50 million fine or something.
I mean, you know, that's what I mean.
Their owners will go. All right.
Just to say to Billy, if we went and spent 300 million on 3 or 4 real top players, and all of a sudden we're up there challenging, I'm sure Billy's going to be delighted.
Yeah, I always find this has been the kind of I never know the right word there. I want to say juxtaposition. No, that's not the right word. I don't. You know, this is the opposing views here. Is you've got people going, I want it done the right way, but I guarantee if Man City's owners took over Tottenham and we started seeing top talent like Erling Haaland and De Bruyne and won leagues, I really don't think anyone's going to be sitting in YouTube channels going, I'm not happy we've won the treble, Lubo. I'm not happy because where they're from, they do X, Y, Z. I feel like the world's too big for that view now, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, listen, it's Levy won't sell for less than C. No, it's 3.5 is probably about right. At the end of the day, sorry, before I come on to you, Sav, everything can sell at the right price.
Yeah. And
at the end, you know, they've spent probably they spent 250 million buying the club, but amassing all the shares, you know, but initially 22 million, I think, for 29% of Sugar's 42% shareholding, and bit by bit over the years it's gone up to about 250 million. So if they came away with 3 billion based on 250 million, that's 12 times their investment. So, you know, it's a terrific profit. It's a great profit
for sure.
You know, so
sure. And as Rob says, absolutely, mate, we are massive. We've got Beyonce and go-karts. Yeah, absolutely. Just tuning in. A cool fight. Hang on, what's going on here? Hey, Savva, just tuned in. A cool
5 million.
Oh, billion. I think he means billion. I think he means billion. I can't see Daniel Levy selling it for 5 million. I think maybe 5 billion. I mean, look, we say Levy, it will be Enix selling it, but Levy, if I'm not wrong, does own 30% of Enix.
Yeah, just under 29.8%, I think. At the end of the day, the Lewis Trust will decide where the club's going. At the end of that, you know, he's 70%.
Yeah.
Of the 87% that Enix have in Tottenham.
Yeah.
So,
but that they will. If I'm not wrong, I'm no financial or business expert. If I'm not wrong, it will be Daniel Levy dealing with any sale. He will be the mastermind behind it, right? Surely.
If the Lewis family want to get out and Levy's going nowhere with the negotiations, then I think the Lewis family will sell their own shares.
Okay. But if they're selling it as a whole and they all agree and Levy's part of that, do you think he'll be the guy doing the negotiating and finding the deal for Tottenham?
Well, listen, if you're a 70% shareholder and your junior shareholder is seeing people and nothing's happening, then sooner or later you're going to jump in and say, right, enough's enough, I'll take over. And that's what I think will end up happening.
Yeah, listen, it's going to be interesting. But at the moment, it's all smokes and mirrors. It's a lot of talk about not a lot happening, if we're going to be brutally honest. I think as well, it helped. The rumours were helped by this. And obviously, this is something that we've all seen before, Lubo. But the rumours were helped by... Oh, quickly, Savva, find it. The rumours were helped by this. Because when he did drop 30 million... pounds of when he did reduce the wages this summer by 30 million pounds, a lot of people said that was because he's actually trying to make it more attractive for potential buyers. Lubo, do you buy into that aspect of it, or is it just Daniel Levy being tight and wanting to buy youngsters rather than paying top players?
No, I think it is geared. The club need investment. They appointed Rothschild's Bank the other year to go and bring them in investment. That hasn't materialized. They need money for the hotel. They need money to renovate White Wedge Park that they bought, for the NFL, for an NFL pitch and football pitches for the women's football team. So Spurs need investment. Levy's out trying to get investment. So I do believe that they brought the wage bill down for prospective investors to have a look at, and the figures, if Will Pearce will be happy, I'll be delighted. I'll be on here drinking champagne, let me tell you, if he needs set up. Believe me, there's nothing more that I have wanted for about 18 years than for that shower to go.
26th of October, 2007.
When that was yours. Martin Yole, was it?
Martin Yole. Since that day, can't stand them. Since that very day.
I'm trying to think, who was the Dutch team we played that day? Was it a Dutch team?
No, wasn't it?
Who were we playing that day?
God, wasn't it Getafe?
Yes, I think it was. Was
it Getafe? Sorry, it's not a G, is it? Getafe. Yeah, I think it was. Anyone in the chat, can you confirm? I think it was. Hang on. I think it was Martin Yole's last game for Spurs. It was Martin Yole. Martin Yole's fifth. No, that's Russell Martin. What's that got to do? Martin Yole, not Russell Martin. Never mind. Yeah, I think it was a Tafe. Let's go with that. Someone in the chat will tell us if we're wrong. Big up to each of you. Thank you very much for all the likes and the subscribes so far. Do please keep going. It really does help. Daniel Harris has said, why are we so arrogant? We think there's a right way, and everyone else who wins it is doing it wrong. So Spursy. And I think this is it, Daniel. Lubo, I'll ask you. When we hear things like that, is it more coping mechanisms? Oh my God, look at this. Oh my God, look at this shameless man. Look at this. look at what he's called himself.
Next day,
I'm pitching for the new job, right? Anyone but Daniel Levy? Well, I'm not Daniel Levy. Get me in.
Can you imagine? Sean Butler as chairman?
Hey, listen, we would have signed Danny Olmo 4 years ago. We would have signed Bugsy Malone for the best ball control in the game. Energy like you wouldn't believe. You know.
Well, Arsenal have got a dog, so why can't we have a dog?
Exactly.
Is it Win? They've got Win the dog.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. We'll have lose the dog or draw the dog, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, Sean, let me ask your opinion on this. My old mate Matty has said, Savva, would you moan if we had Qatar or Middle East owners? Sean, it's always quite a delicate conversation, but do you agree for me, I feel like whoever buys the club, some section are going to have an issue with where that investment comes from. Do you care? Do you think it matters? What's your stance on all this?
Yeah, I mean, I think the political side of the conversation is necessary. I think it should be had. It's difficult, it's awkward, and it's always going to annoy people. But as we spoke about the other day, Savva, right? You know, people are going to have a problem with what you say anyway. So say what you want, right? But I think with regards to the ownership, like, I haven't got a dog in the fight with any of the communities that will be feeling sensitive about Qatar, right? I'm not Jewish. I'm not part of the LGBTQ, whatever it is, LGBTQ. I'm not a lady. Well, not on a Friday anyway. Sometimes other days of the week. There's no real dog in any of those fights for me. So it comes out, it's an easier conversation for me to have. But I totally understand why people have a problem with it on paper. And but I also think that people just generally, people will always find the problem with something. Some people sometimes just like to lean towards, you know, I like to point fingers and, you know, think that the grass is always greener, which it isn't always. So I think, yeah, look, there's always going to be, essentially, mate, roundabout way of saying, yes, there's never going to be an entirely happy Tottenham fan base, just like there's not an entirely happy Chelsea fan base, there's not an entirely happy Man City fan base, Real Madrid. People are always going to find a problem, and the ownership is always going to be a part of that, whoever you pick.
And do you think, Sean, by the way, if I do cut you off, both of you at any point, it is because the Champions League draw is starting, so that should be interesting.
So, Sean, was that a yes after all of that?
Am I okay with Qatar coming in?
Yes.
Yeah,
how would you feel about Middle East?
I'm okay with Qatar coming in. I'm okay with Qatar. But I'd like to know what their intentions are, and I'd like to know, what's going to change, because I think there's a lot of people that don't realise that if £500 million comes in via Stavely or whatever, there's a lot of people that think that that money can go straight into the transfer kitty, and that's just not true.
It runs.
And there's a lot of people that think that suddenly we can just go and spend, $2 billion like Chelsea, or 1.5 billion like Todd Bowley did. That's not true. Yeah, there's a lot of things that can change, but most of those things that can change could also change with Daniel Levy with regards to naming rights, debt, restructuring, all of that stuff, like, new sponsorship deals, all of those things can also change with Daniel Levy. So in terms of what do the Qataris bring, well, I think the best you can hope for is a different approach to risk and a different approach to, their relationship with money. And maybe if Daniel Levy stays on for a few years, maybe if he has, someone else telling him it's okay, I'm going to authorise you to do what you want with the projects that you see fit off the field and on it. It might not necessarily be Daniel Levy that's always saying no to prices. It might be Daddy Joe Lewis that is sitting there, that's got the, more invisible but still very real, tightening of those purse strings. Whereas if you have an owner that's got a little bit of a looser relationship with that stuff, then maybe you might see Daniel Levy doing the things that we aren't seeing from him today. By the way, is my internet connection working, guys? I don't know, because the camera keeps dropping out my side.
Yeah, okay. Sorry. Somebody just sent me a very funny video which involves all three of us. I'm just going to load it up and then play it. It's very, very funny. So keep going for the moment and wow,
that's my take, Lubo. Like I'm okay with. I want to see what it looks like. I'm not going to get on board anything. I don't think anyone should just get on board something without the details. Right? You want to know what the plans are and what's going to change, because things can go up as well as down, or down as well as up, I suppose is what I should say.
Yeah, I think this is an interesting thing. I mean, Lubo, I've heard for many years that maybe this can happen with Levy. Maybe Levy changes that stance. Maybe this allows him to do X, Y, Z. Are we at the stage where a lot of people now have just gone, well, it will never happen? Or is Sean right? Is there potential that Daniel Levy could go, right, we're now in a position where I can do X, Y, Z that the fans want?
I personally think it'll come down to the Lewis family. I don't think Levy wants to go anywhere, personally, at the moment. It's if I was chairman and I was in charge of a situation where success had been very fleeting, over 24 years, I think I'd be embarrassed to stay
Yeah.
on. I think I'd walk away and just say, do you know what? It hasn't worked. I'm chairman of a football company, a football club.
Yeah.
The club's not progressing. The club's going backwards. I think probably best, I'll take my profit and I'll let someone else come in who is capable of taking the club on to the next level. And I do think you need somebody who loves football. To find someone who comes in that loves Tottenham is not going to be easy. But you've got to have someone in who loves the sport, has an empathy with fans, and as a person understands the fans, rates, values the client base. He has no value for the client. He calls them client base. I call them fan base. We're client reference numbers. We're not client reference numbers. We are fans. And I think that shows how divorced from the reality of football and fans. Because without the fans, we all saw during COVID that without the fans, the grounds completely lack atmosphere and it's not the same game. And he still doesn't get it after 24 years. So if I was him, he should be saying, right, I've done what I can do. I've set it all up financially. Someone will come in. Thank you very much. My hard work setting it up will bring about a nice profit for me. I can go off into the sunset. I've made my money. My family's set up for generations now, and hand it on to someone else. But unfortunately, he won't.
But see, if I'm playing devil's advocate here, which is obviously the title of one of Sean's shows, so please get over there and subscribe to Spurs Talk Show. Sean is right in a way, right? That I feel like a lot of us feel like we'll get a new owner and all of a sudden none of these FFP and PSR rules are going to mean anything. And the new owner is going to be able to do like what Man City did back in the day, what Chelsea did back in the day, and suddenly lift us to be brilliant. It's not going to quite happen like that, guys, is it? Now, we might have a new owner that comes in and is happy to raise the wage structure, but It's not like we can just go out and buy 5 top players at £100 million on 300 grand a week immediately. So what is it that we're all asking for? Does that make sense?
Ambitious owners, I think.
Sure, but what does that mean to you, Lubo? Like when we're saying,
Savva, you're doing my job for me, Bo. You're doing my job. This is the question I ask. What does that mean? Stop saying subjective things that are wishy-washy. No, back the manager. Ambitions. What does that look like?
What does that mean?
What does it mean? Like if 10 years ago we'd got new owners in, they could come in and do what Abramovich did. They could come in and do what Man City's owners did. So again, you know my opinion. I'm just, as the host, I'm sitting in. What does the ambitious part mean? Like in year one, in the first 3 transfer windows, what would you want to see from new owners, Lubo? What would these ambitious owners do?
It's more
in the first 3 windows.
Sav, it's more than that. If I'm coming in, if I'm being pulled in, just say the Qataris phone up, say, Lubo, we're buying the club. We want you in to run it. Thank you very much. My dream job. Let's get on with it. What am I going to do? I'm going to put a short-term, mid-term and long-term strategy into place with various people. It'd be good. Sav, you could run communications. That'd be good. What do you reckon? You could run Tottenham TV. Hey,
I want a new logo. I want a new logo instead of the cockerel, and I want it to be my face, just to piss off all the Spurs fans who hate me. That's what I want it to be.
I could listen. Wouldn't it be funny in the boardroom? We'd have Stel and Sean together, working together in the boardroom.
Jesus, God, don't do that to me. Being friends with both of those two is hard work. I'm going to be honest. Just because anyway, I'm not going to go there. By the way, but Sean, let me ask. Let me ask that.
Hold up. Sam. This is what happens. I love Lubo to pieces. And by the way, on the show tonight, we're debuting, just quickly, little plug, shameless plug. On the other hand, which the whole setup of the show is that you don't know what side of the debate you're going to get given. And so you might find that Lubo tonight has to defend Daniel Levy as the best chairman in the last 25 years across the Premier League, and he's going to have to do a job. And if he doesn't want to do it, he won't get any points. And you know what? There's one thing everyone wants more than anything else is points. And that's how it's going to. So hopefully everyone can tune in for that 5 o'clock. But Lubo, you're doing what everyone does. You turn that on. What does it look like? What does ambition mean? What does an owner that cares about football look like? And then you get given the platform to give your answer, and then you say Savva on communications and Sean, or whoever it was, Savva say Sean and Stell in the boardroom. What does it really mean? Answer the question.
I'll tell you what it means, Sean.
What do you want from a new owner?
I'll tell you what it means. It means wanting to be the best that you can be in the area that you're in and in the league you're in.
That's just another way of saying ambition. What does it mean? Like, tell me what it looks like in terms of
what does it look
how much
like?
do you want to see us spend? How much do you want to see us, like, do you want to see us put the season ticket prices down? Do you want to see us, like, tell me what it looks like in actual reality.
God, blimey. I mean,
what have I done here? By the way, Percy's just messaged me and said if I was in charge of communications, coys would stand for come on, you Savva. Superb. Right, come on, Lubo.
By the way, Sav.
Sean's asked you a direct question.
What would it be? Right. Okay. Where do you want me to start? Day one with the first team. Okay. Let's try and get the best manager in.
Yeah.
In terms of how much you spend on players, that depending on the manager you bring in, he would bring in a system and he would want certain players. Now, those players could be 5 million, 20 million, 80 million. Could be anything. Whatever it is, you go and back the manager. You could get a Dele Alli for 5 million, a Dele Alli type, like an uncut diamond at Milton Keynes, like we got with Dele. Or you could go and get Isak for 120 million. But the funds would be made available so the manager could put together a team. It's not all about how much you spend, it's about spending it wisely. So before Sean comes on and says, Lubo, if you were in charge of Tottenham, we'd be bust in 6 months. That's my answer to you. Then,
no, but hang on. Doesn't that happen already, right? When managers come in and then they get the players that they're given and they turn around and say, I got the players that I wanted, I was back, I'm happy with the transfer window, and then for whatever reason the season doesn't work out, people like yourself turn around and say he wasn't back.
I agree with this. Do you know what? Do you know what? Listen, there's a lot. Sean and I have had some epic rows in the public over the last 3 or 4 years. This is one point I think Sean and I have always agreed on, isn't it, Sean? When people say he wasn't backed, hang on, I've got videos and evidence of everybody and their dog saying, oh my God, what a great signing. Like with the Conte squad, I had people coming on my show going, we've got 2 players in every position. We're going to be great. We're going to be top 2, top 3. Then when it doesn't go well, it's how can you bring in Conte and not back him? And this is where I think people need to. And the biggest example I'll give of that, Sean and Lubo, and by the way, I will get a cut away to the Champions League draw in just 1 second. The biggest example I'll give of that is when I ask everyone at the beginning of the season to send in to me their prediction for where we're going to be in the league. And I'm getting 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. When we're 14th in the Premier League table, 12th, 15th, wherever we are at any given time, and people are going, yeah, but what did you expect with this squad? Hang on. None of you in the summer said, you know what, Sav, we're going to be bottom half of the table. No one said that. Oh, but injuries. Yeah, but that's why it's called a squad. That's why, so I do think there is revisionism, Lubo. Don't you?
Listen, Ellie has put a great comment in. Someone who loves the club like Bill Nicholson.
Just quickly, club, I think they've started the draw. Sorry. It's taking them 15 minutes to explain how the draw works. Surely if anything takes 15 minutes to explain, it's a bit long-winded. I'm pretty sure that Aston Villa just
compare that to Angepostecoglou, whose message took 18 months to embed. After 18 months of losses, we're not worried about the losses in isolation. It's all about instilling that message of what the system's about. If you can take 15 minutes to not explain the Champions League draw, there's a problem with the message. If it takes 18 months to get your message across, there's a problem with the message.
By the way, Villa will play Club Bruges. Club Bruges will play Villa, which is my go-to team to scout these days. Club Bruges are playing Villa. The second game out the hat, sorry, I did miss that. I think it was Lyon somewhere, but Bruges v Villa should be a tasty couple of games. Next game out, sorry, bear with me, is Atletico Madrid will be at home. Atletico Madrid at home, and they're going to play either, if I'm not wrong, Bayern or Real. Or Real Madrid versus Atleti Madrid. Real versus Atleti. That's a massive game. That's a massive game. Atleti versus Real Madrid. The next one, sorry guys, bear with me, is Bayer Leverkusen. So that means Bayer Leverkusen will be playing by default Bayern Munich, right? Bayern Munich v Bayer Leverkusen and Atleti versus Madrid. That is two cracking ties for the last games. Sorry, bear with me, guys. Sorry, Sean, I know this is quite boring if anyone's waiting, but otherwise I'll end up interrupting debates. Is that
Madrid derby's tie? That's a absolutely phenomenal tie. That Madrid. That's
going to be a
Madrid
great
derby.
game because Atleti can defend. They Arsenal. Oh, where's Angus? Angus, your boys have come out. It's the Arsenal. I think Arsenal will be out. Arsenal are playing PSV. PSV, not PSG. They're going to the Netherlands to play PSV Eindhoven. Guys, I expect Arsenal to win that. I'm sorry. I know we'd want PSV, but I do think Arsenal will have too much over two legs for that. Inter Milan. Inter Milan are the next team out. Is that Zanetti in the crowd? Is that Christian Zanetti? They're going to play Feyenoord. So Inter Milan away at Feyenoord in the first leg. Arsenal at home to PSV in the first leg. I wish Arsenal were playing PSG. I think PSG would give them a much bigger game. And then what I'll do is when they've done the draw, I'll let you know who's in which side so we can see who's going to knock out Arsenal. The next game is Liverpool Football Club, the champions-elect of England, some might say. Liverpool
conquerors of the mighty Spurs in the League Cup semi-final. Liverpool
will play PSG. Liverpool versus PSG. First leg in Paris. So second leg, Anfield. It writes itself, doesn't it? The next game is, by default, I believe, is Barcelona versus Benfica, right?
Benfica.
There's Deco. Deco is in the crowd. Benfica will be at home to Barcelona in the first leg. Benfica versus Barcelona. I would expect Barca will have too much for them over two legs, if I'm brutally honest. Is that it? Is there anyone else? Now what do they do? I'm so confused. Like I feel like they should just pick a ball out the thing, and I knew everything that was going on. I'll come back to you. I think now they're going to pick to see who then goes on to play who. Or so. I've never felt more dumb than 2025 being a football fan. Like I felt like it used to be really, really easy. Yeah, I have missed one, Mark. There was one that I did miss. It was a French team, so I'm guessing it was going to be. Hang on 1 second. What are they drawing now? So coming out is the winners of round 16. The winners of round 16 won. Oh, I don't know. We'll go back to this in a minute. It's Dortmund v Lille was the one I missed. Dortmund versus Lille. Guys, where were we? Yeah, Lubo. So what do we do? What do we do, guys? Sean, what do we do? How are we doing this? What top players are we buying? Are we suddenly going to put everyone on 300 grand a week because new owners arrive?
First and foremost, just quickly on that draw, I completely echo your sentiments, Savva. I think it's an absolute disgrace. It's a way that they basically can plot their way to the final to get the best teams through by seeding it. It also ruins the fun of the draw. And if they're also now picking the quarterfinals and the semi-finals in advance, where's the fun? It's all gone. It's terrible. Yeah. But Aston Villa fans are going to look at that and think they've got a really lucky draw. I'm not sure they have. I think Bruges are a brilliant team.
The winner, Sean, the winners of Liverpool PSG play the winners of Bruges Villa.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the winners of Arsenal versus PSV play the winners of Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid. Come on, the Madrids. Come on, the Madrids.
Yeah, Arsenal season's over then. Arsenal season's over. That's done. See you later. They're not getting
They're
past
not
either of those
beating
Madrid teams.
either of the two Madrids over two legs.
No chance. No chance.
And hang on, let me just give. So it's managed. Yeah, look, everybody.
1 minute, Sav.
Everybody.
1 minute.
No worries, mate. Everybody now wants the Madrids to suddenly, whoever wins that game, right? Benfica or Barca will play Lille or Dortmund. I think this has got Barcelona going quite far, written all over it. If I'm honest, I think this could be a good year for them.
Who did you say Villa gets? Who does Villa get if they get past Bruges?
Liverpool or PSG.
Oh yeah, Villa's seasons. Yeah, well, Villa are going to make an extra because I think they probably will have enough to get past Bruges. So that's probably an extra 25, 30 million quid or 30 million euros to Villa. No? The value of being in the Champions League. The value of the Champions League is insane. I actually had not a blazing row, but a really good debate with Johnny the other day about whether or not the distribution of prize money is appropriate. The fact that the bottom place team in the Champions League after the group stage, after the league stage, gets paid more than the best paid team, the most successful team in the Europa League, regardless of how bad the Champions League worst team does, and regardless of how well the Europa League number one spot gets, that they're going to earn more money. I'm not sure if that's a good distribution. I think it's a little bit crazy that Liverpool could be on 101 million euros by the halfway point. I think it creates these haves and have-nots. It's a Grand Canyon-sized chasm that doesn't need to be there.
No, I completely agree with you. Yeah. By the way, the winners of the Inter Milan game play the winners of the. I'll just put it on the screen. Do you know what? Once they get to the final screen, I will read it. It's just crazy, Sean. What I loved about it, I loved knowing that everyone's going to play their next round, and then we're all going to draw again, so that anybody can get anybody. I love that.
I'm not even a fan of the fact that you can't play an English team. Like, why are we doing that? Why not let everyone if you qualify, you qualify. Let's see what happens. I can understand that you want to have seeding in the group stages, but after that, it should be just, get what you get what you're given. And if it's Arsenal, Tottenham, or United City, or whatever in the last 32 or last 16, so be it. But it's a weird way to manipulate the outcomes, isn't it?
Yeah. What I don't like about it is if I'm an underdog team, I'm not saying I know teams in Champions League shouldn't be underdogs, but if you are one of the lesser favourites, I don't want to know, right, battle through two legs against Barcelona. Oh my God, if I do that, I've got Real Madrid, for example. I don't want to do that. I want to go into the next draw knowing, hang on, what if we draw Lille, for example? Right, here's how it works. Right, let me pause. Here's how it works, because this is nice and simple. Right, PSV are playing Arsenal and Real Madrid are playing Atletico Madrid. The two winners of those games will play each other in the quarterfinal. PSG are playing Liverpool. Club Bruges are playing Villa. The two winners will play each other in the quarterfinal. The two quarterfinals I've just named will play each other. So potentially you could have a Liverpool Real Madrid, for example, semi-final. They're in the same side of the draw, which I think is the tougher side of the draw. You've got Arsenal, Madrid, Atleti, PSG, and Liverpool all on that side. On the other side, you've got Benfica versus Barca. And the winner of that game will play the winner of Dortmund versus Lille. Then you've got Bayer Leverkusen versus Bayern Munich. And the winner of that game will play the winner of Feyenoord and Inter. So in that half of the draw,
against Bayern Munich in the semi, right?
Sorry, say that again.
So it will probably be Barca versus Bayern Munich in the semi on the second half of the draw.
Possibly, but Inter Milan will fancy themselves against Feyenoord. I think this Inter team, I think they batter Bayern Munich from what I've seen this season. I think they'll take them to the cleaners. Just an opinion. So basically, Real Madrid can't play Liverpool in the final, for all those saying it's going to be another Real Madrid final. But what you have got, which I really want to see as a final, guys, right? Because we don't have a horse in this race. I want to see a Real Madrid Barcelona final. I would, two of the biggest clubs on the planet. I would love to see that as a final for me.
I kind of have got a dog in the fight though. I kind of want Bayern Munich to win because I want Harry Kane to come back in the summer for £55 million.
Harry Kane.
Mate, anyone that doesn't want Harry Kane back in the summer for 60 million quid, I don't know what you're smoking. You know, can I have some? But like, it's surely Harry Kane doesn't come back to Tottenham at all unless he wins something, and surely the only way he gets satisfied is if he wins both the Bundesliga and possibly the Champions League. And if he can get that done in one season, then it's more likely he'd go, okay, I'll come back now and focus on getting the Harry Kane or the Alan Shearer record, right?
Yeah,
and he won't go anywhere to Tottenham, would he? So.
Well, let's have this debate in 1 second. Just quickly, what I would say is I will be staggered if this Bayern Munich team lifts the Champions League. Then Vincent Kompany's one of the greatest managers of all time. I just think they're a mess. Genuinely, when I watched them the other night at the back, I thought it was Spurs defending. They were horrific at the back. They've got a lot going forward, but if he wins it, what an achievement. You could see the documentaries now, guys, from Burnley to Bayern, you know, the Champions League story. Do you know what I mean? You can see it already. Let's talk Harry Kane. Not my mate Wolfie here, who said he wouldn't have Harry Kane over Chris Wood. I love him so much. Guys, Harry Kane, any truth in him coming back? Would he want to come back? Is there anywhere else in the UK he would go? Would Ange kill his hamstrings within 30 minutes of him being back at Tottenham? Harry Kane, discuss. You're on mute, Lubo.
Okay, I just sort of said my piece. For me, you know, bringing him back, I don't understand anyone that would say no, especially at 60 million quid. I think he's got unfinished business with the Alan Shearer record. If he goes and gets himself a Champions League and a Bundesliga, no one can ridicule him for just going to a Farmers League because he's also got the Champions League. Not that the Farmers League and the Bundesliga should be in the same sentence, but generally speaking, you know, that would be the criticism. Oh, you just went there to win a quick trophy to get the monkey off your back sort of thing. But if he does both, then I think he's still got enough gas in the tank and has still got enough years in his legs to be able to come back and get the last, 50-odd goals, 47 goals, something like that he needs.
He's 47 away.
Yeah, so unless Erling Haaland stays in the Premier League for the next, 7, 8 years, I really don't see anyone getting close. Mo Salah's not going to do it, in my opinion. And so I think it's Harry Kane. It's his to take, right? If he comes back, I think he will do that at Tottenham. I can't see him going to Chelsea or Arsenal. I don't think he would join Man United, seeing how much of an absolute tanking club they are. And also, they probably couldn't even afford him right now, which is hilarious. Man City don't need him. And the only other option is Liverpool. But Liverpool have got enough firepower for like 4 teams up front. So I don't really... I mean, maybe if they were to sell Salah, maybe they'd want to replace, not that they're the same type of player, but like a name for a name. But I would imagine that if he did come back, he'd come back to Tottenham. And I think if he does win a couple of trophies now this season, I think he would be up for it. And at 60 million quid, the geezer's value all day long. I don't care how old he is. He's still going to score 20 goals in this system for sure.
Will it just quickly before I go to Lubo? I think the one thing we can all agree on, I said the other day on a show, Sean, 3 things in life are for certain: death, taxes, and Harry Kane scoring goals, right? My worry isn't Harry Kane scoring goals. My worry is, can you imagine him in this system with his hamstrings and how much work will be asked of him? Look how Solanke plays. Solanke runs around like a headless chicken. Are we gonna ask the same of Harry Kane?
I think you could almost maybe, I know this sounds a little bit crazy, but I think you could almost get Harry Kane to drop a little bit deeper, play in the kind of Maddison role. He's obviously good enough to do all that. And then you could, obviously you need someone like a Matisse Tell who does have the willingness to press and the pace and the stamina in his legs. And Solanke does it. I think it'd be a hard stretch to ask Harry Kane to. But at the same time, guys, let's not forget, I don't think unless Ange lifts the Europa League, I don't see Ange Postecoglou. Let me know if you guys disagree. I don't see him here next season. I think if we lose in the Europa League to whoever we're going to get,
Come on, can we please go, Ange? Leave.
Well, it's interesting though, isn't it? You know, I'd love to know people, and I can't see the chat, but I'd love to know how people would feel that are vehemently Ange out if lifting the Europa League means that you're going to have Ange for another season. How do people feel about the consequence of lifting Europa League? Surely the trophy is more important than an extra year with Ange, right? But I think a lot of people will be a little bit, torn on that concept of the Europa League. Yep, great. And then you can't sack it. You can't sack the manager that's doing that, right?
Cool.
So he stays, right?
I did a video the other day, Lubo. I did a video the other day, and my video was literally Europa League or bust. For me, this manager, the only way he salvages this season and his job at Tottenham is to lift that Europa League.
For sure.
But we'll come back to that. Kane. Let's go back to Kane, and then we'll go back to Ange salvaging his job. Harry Kane, and in a minute, there's people in the chat saying he's the greatest striker that's ever played in the Premier League. In a minute, I want to debate that. But, Lubo, Kane, is he going to come back to Spurs? Would there be other suitors? Why would he come back to Spurs? Yada, 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 all of that stuff.
Okay. I had a very interesting conversation. Someone I used to see at half-time in the old West Stand came up to all of us at half-time. It's one of these half-time chats again. A few years ago, and he said, like, this was about a year before, and he said, Bale's coming back to Tottenham. And he said, my mate so-and-so says he knows Bale's cousin or whatever it is, Bale's going to come back to Spurs for a season. And we all laughed at him. And he came back like a year later, and he said, you all laughed at me, you all owe me an apology. And we all said, Howard, really, you were right, we were wrong.
Yeah.
By pure coincidence, he sat next to me for the Elfsport game. He normally sits a few rows down, hadn't applied, and came in late. And he sat next to me and he said, do you remember what I said to you about Bale? And I said, yes. He said, well, the same guy who told me Bale's coming back has told me that Kane's coming back either next January or the January after.
Okay.
So he said, he said, you're going to take the piss this time? I said, no, I'm not saying anything. You were 100% correct last time. Let's wait and see. So that's the conversation I had. I take no responsibility for any ITK. Lubo thinks he's in the know. He said Kane's coming back. I didn't say Kane's coming back.
I'm clipping it.
That's what I was told.
I literally just heard the words Kane is coming back come out of your mouth, mate. So it doesn't matter what the words were before or after. You are being clipped for that one, 100%. That's the way it works.
So, Howard, if you're watching this, let's see if you're correct again, if your info is correct. I would be personally...
You're saying next, so January 2026 or January 2027, is that what you're saying?
Correct. That's what I was told. Either next January or the January after. He's been told Bale's coming back.
Can't be waiting another 23 months for the man. That is, it's the summer.
No. Sean,
he'll be 36 by then. We're doing it.
Sean, there are two different fees based on January 26 and January 27, evidently.
Yeah, I've heard wasn't it this January gone was a 60 million buy. I don't know. I've heard that it was 67 million if he had gone this January. I've heard that next January is 54 million as a buyout.
I thought it was a year on from that.
Okay, quite possibly. Surely
I thought it was in the summer though. I thought those we're all getting fed some sort of level of ITK misinformation here. I was told it was in the summer that those numbers were relevant. Whatever, it is what it is. Lubo, you're telling us what your friend thinks is going to happen. What do you?
He's heard from someone else. He's heard from someone else. So I've heard it fourth hand. Fourth hand. Let me say, I'll make that very clear. Fourth hand. This isn't a situation that I can say with any guarantee.
But do you want him to come back, though? Do you want him to come back?
I'd love him to come back. What a player. What a player. He is so far ahead of any player we've got at the club today. He's leagues ahead in ability with everybody. I'm not talking about the goalkeeper. He's on a different level. Different level. Can you imagine Kane playing? I mean, we'd have to get rid of Ange first before Kane's hamstrings went. But, I'll be fantastic to get Kane back.
How does he fit into the team, though, Ian? To Savva's question, how does he fit into the squad? Like, where do you put him in the 9 and ask him to do what?
Sean, he played one game for Ange. He scored 4 goals. I'm sure he'd fit in. I know that was only a friendly, but you know what I mean. Come on.
Yeah,
Kane could fit into any system under any manager in world football. He is that good.
But let's assume you said there that it could possibly be January 27. At January 27, Harry Kane, if I'm not wrong, will be 33.
Mm-hmm. Well, Lewandowski's still banging him in at 36. So
I'm not doubting it. I'm not doubting it. Listen, by the way,
Pedro's still doing it over in Lazio at 37, right? It can happen.
It can happen. But having said that, Sean, I'd like to see Pedro keep up with Bergvall if they're playing against each other on the pitch, and Bergvall drops his shoulder.
Oh, is this the new Archie Gray factuation?
No.
Because he dropped a shoulder in a game, and everyone started saying he was better than Pedri. I've seen people putting tweets out saying he's better than Pedri. You know, the Barcelona league winner, Spanish, Euro league winner.
No, I'm talking about Pedro, Sav, you need a hearing aid, mate. Sav. I'm talking Pedro, not Pedri.
No, I heard what you said. I'm just saying what I've seen this week. Bergvall dropped his shoulder a couple of times in a game, and everyone went, oh, this is the greatest thing that's ever come out of Sweden. But the Harry Kane situation, I want him back. Of course, I don't want him back under Ange. That's where I stand. I'm sorry, guys. I do not want this manager ruining Harry Kane. I don't want it. Take it as you will.
Why do you think Ange will stay on? I just can't see him staying on. And if Kane came back in January, we'd probably be in the relegation zone under Ange next season by November. So he'll be gone anyway.
Right, let me pitch you a scenario, right? I already said earlier, a lot of Tottenham fans will have to, who are vehemently against Ange, would have to shake hands with the reality that if you won the Europa League, he'd be here anyway, right? How about this? Would you sacrifice the Europa League if it meant that Ange was gone and that Harry Kane was back in our starting 11 under an Iriola system, or whoever else your managerial preference is for next season? Would you sacrifice the Europa League right now to get Harry Kane in, whoever your manager of choice is in, and Ange out for next season?
Well, what we want are trophies, so you wouldn't sacrifice a trophy. If you could guarantee me that trophy, Sean, then I'd take the trophy.
But so doing, you would
because you're bringing in. Hang on. But you're bringing in Iriola and Harry Kane to win your trophies. But we're winning trophies, so why would you not want to win a trophy? It's sort of counterproductive, isn't it?
I'm 100% on the side of that. I'm 100% saying no. You've got to win the Europa League. That's the whole point of it, right?
Let's win the Europa. Sean, let's win the Europa. Then Harry can see that coming back to Spurs could mean him winning a trophy.
Yeah, but Lubo, that doesn't work for fun and games in hypotheticals on streams. Right? No, hypothetical nonsense.
But you brought it up. You're getting carried away here. You know, change for Tottenham, Butler in. I think you're getting a bit carried away with it all now, Sean.
I genuinely don't think bringing Kane back wins us stuff. I don't. We've been there before. I don't think it does. There's a lot that needs to happen at Tottenham.
Oh, for sure.
The other end of the pitch as well before we worry about winning. Listen, if it was as simple as Harry Kane wins your things, we've had Harry Kane in his peak banging in 30, 40 goals a season. Harry Kane was never the problem, right? The reason we didn't win anything is because we've not built around him, right? It's, we can talk about him in finals. We can blah, 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 blah. But, I would, as I said, I want him back, whether it's January, whether it's the January after. I just don't want him back. I don't want to say with this manager's tactics and system, he'll score goals. But my worry is, what would we do to poor Harry's legs? What would we do to his legs at the age of 32, 33, asking him to run around like a headless chicken in this style of football?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think, like I say, I think not that I have much faith in Ange thinking outside the box too much with tactical adaptations. I do think he does some, but that's why I don't think he would do this. But I do think you could make the argument that James Maddison doesn't exactly run around all day long in this system. You know, when he does play, I think that's one of the reasons why he doesn't play as much, because Ange doesn't appreciate it. But I think you could make the argument that at 33 years old, you could drop Harry Kane into the 10 and then not expect him to do as much pressing as the front three have to.
Yeah, sure. Listen, I'm all for it. I think if you've got a proper manager with proper nous, I'm all for it. You guys, you know my feelings. You know I cannot stand this football manager. So I don't wish that upon Harry. I think he's too good for all that. Guys, here's an interesting bit. When we're talking about Harry Kane coming back to the Premier League and beating Alan Shearer's record, I was reading a really good article the other day about this, right? And I wanted to get your take on this. So we know that he's 47 goals behind Alan Shearer, which is if we're going to say 2 seasons, if he comes back at 33, let's just say that's 2 seasons of 23, 24 goals in both seasons, which isn't it's not something beyond Harry Kane, but we'd have to look at injuries, tiredness, system, all of those different things. My question is this. I saw this article that talked about, everyone always says about Alan Shearer's goal record. But what about Alan Shearer's goals that he scored before it turned into the Premier League? And this article was saying Alan Shearer's actually got 23 more goals than the ones he scored in the Premier League. Someone said, why is that just being discounted? When people are talking about goal, why are they just discounted because it was called something else?
Well, so if you're going to bring Shearer's Division 1 goals in,
yeah,
then let's talk about Jimmy Greaves. Is it 357?
No, sure.
Something ridiculous.
Sure. But my point is because Shearer played in the Premier League, it's almost as though because Shearer played 2 or 3 seasons in Division 1 before it turns Premier League, suddenly his top flight goals now don't count, if that makes sense. Why is that? I just thought it was interesting.
Well, because it's like there's a difference between the top goal scorer of all time, the top English goal scorer of all time, versus it's just the trophy that he has is, or the accolade that he has is top Premier League goal scorer, and that unfortunately for everybody that played like Jimmy Greaves, to Lubo's point there, they're not going to ever be able to qualify for that. Just like if Harry Kane goes and scores enough goals over in the Bundesliga, which he already has done. If he did that at Tottenham, he'd have the trophy already, right? But he doesn't, because it wasn't inside the Premier League. It's just as simple as, simple as that. It's the top Premier League goal scorer, therefore the goal scored within the Premier League era in a Premier League side.
But it's all the same, isn't it? But Division 1 and Premier League's all the same.
I just thought it was interesting because somebody said, "Oh, Shearer's actually not got 260." They said he's got 283, and I was like, "Why?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, of course, he got goals in the top division." I just thought it was an interesting side note more than anything.
Who scored more goals in our top? Like, how many goals did Gary Lineker score in his career? Who's the top goal scorer in a footballing career in the last 40 years across all the top 5 leagues? Like, I don't want to.
Oh,
again, then you get spicy, don't you? What counts as a league?
Wouldn't it be Lionel Messi?
I don't know. I'm not as well rounded in my.
I'm guessing it's going to be Messi or Ronaldo. I'm guessing it's one of those two, for their longevity and just the sheer volume. I'm guessing. I'm just having a look at Gary Lineker for you. Gary Lineker in his career. Let's have a look. In Gary Lineker's career, he got 573 games in league football and 283 goals. But remove 8 of those because they were for Grampus 8. So.
Who's that? Lineker, is that, Sav?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just sort of looking. Greaves, we know, got 266 league goals.
God, it's not bad, is it?
Sorry, but yeah. 266 all-time top 5 goal scorers. Greaves 266. Harry Kane's on 280.
But what's that based on? Yeah, see, this is where it becomes difficult, right? Because it depends what leagues you're going to add in there, doesn't it?
And how many games you play in a season, like England goal scorers these days. It's far easier because you're playing more games in the international season against in the, what is it called, the FIFA League or whatever, that stupid tournament they do all the time, all the friendlies. Like if you're an England striker today, it's probably going to be easier to score more goals than it would have been if you were doing it under Gary Lineker's time or the generations before.
Yeah, I mean,
there just
look,
wasn't as many internationals.
Just to put some context on that. So I've gone to list of players, top goal scorers in English football of all time. And you've got like Arthur Rowley, who got 434 goals between 46 and 65. If we then go, you've got Dixie Dean, 379, Jimmy Greaves, 357, Steve Bloomer. This name surprised me. John Aldridge, 329 goals. But again, at what level? If we're looking at the top, Shearer's the first real big name after Greaves at 283, followed by Teddy Sheringham has got 275 goals in his career. That's not bad, is it? That's Teddy. He never gets the credit he deserves when people talk about top strikers in this country, ever. Never gets the credit. Fabulous footballer.
And he went back. People say you never go back to your ex, right? He came back to Tottenham. You know, Jurgen Klinsmann came back. I think we've got a tasty little record of good players coming to us, leaving us, coming back for one last song and dance. And I think Harry Kane, it's just written in the stars, boys. Come on, it's gonna be back. I'm saying June of this summer. I'd love it, but maybe not. But you guys are saying January of 26 or 27. He's going to play in a Tottenham shirt again, isn't he?
Look, I want to ask you guys this quiz question. Of all time in the English leagues, who's got the best ever goals to game ratio? Who's got the best goal ratio? Everyone in the chat.
With a minimum games, because I'm sure there's someone who scored like 5 goals but only played 1 game, right?
No. How does Greaves compare with Haaland?
So let me let you know. So Jimmy Greaves is on 0.69, right? Erling Haaland's pisses all over that, by the way. Erling Haaland's is, I'll find it in a second. Erling Haaland's is embarrassing. Like, it's really bad for all those people who said, but will he do it in the Premier League? But just so you know, Jimmy Greaves, 0.69. There is a player at the top, right, who has scored 251 goals in 274 games with a ratio of 0.92. Who do you think
in what decade? What decade? Just give us a help.
This was 55 to 65. 0.92. And I've been told by older people that this was one of the greatest finishers ever. It's not Dixie Dean. Anybody asking? It's not Jamie Vardy. It's not Richarlison. Absolutely not Richarlison. I said 0.92, not 0.21. Not Dixie Dean. It's not Ian Rush. Who is?
Barry
Come on, Luke. I would expect you to be
Chelsea. I'm just trying to.
No. What a phenomenal record, by the way. 251 in 274 top flight games.
Jesus. I should know this.
You should.
I should know this.
Dennis Law? No, not Dennis Law.
It wouldn't be United, because United have Munich in between. Liverpool.
Give us the club.
I'll tell you the club. The 2 clubs were, this should give you the answer. The 2 clubs were Middlesbrough and Sunderland.
Oh, Brian Clough.
Brian Clough.
Wow.
Brian Clough.
Wow.
There you go.
Yes, big up to Paul Summerfield with Brian Clough. I mean,
that must make him the best all-round football guy in the history of football, to have that ratio and also to have done what he did as a manager at Forest. He must be the best all-rounder in terms of football pedigree.
I mean, that's got to be up there. I mean, what a career. What a career. Because if any of you have watched The Damned United, have any of you seen The Damned United?
Yeah.
Right, great film. There's a bit in the film where he's training with his players. The ball comes across. He says, "You don't finish like that, lad. Fire it into me." They put the ball into him. He swivels, scores. No, Gaffer, that was good. And he goes, "You don't score that many goals." And he lists off his goals throughout his career. I mean, that is phenomenal. But Erling Haaland's, I'm just trying to find, because Erling Haaland's must be must be near that. Could someone find out for me the here we go, the 11 players with the best goal scoring ratios in the Premier League history? This should do it. Erling Haaland, it depends when this article was written. Sorry, this article was 14th of September 2024. So in 2024, in September, his goals to game ratio was 1.02. So that may have dropped slightly, but he's already got, 20 league goals this year in 24, 25 games.
Yeah. What else does he do? What else does he do?
Yeah, he don't do anything. He's crap. He's rubbish. Absolute madness. But what a Brian Clough for everybody there. Brian Clough. How many goals was that? That's a lot of goals, isn't it? Hey, I just thought that was interesting, Lubo. Here's a question for you. Let's move it on to this. Harry Kane, is he the greatest striker in the Premier League era?
Well, he can't be because Shearer scored more. You got to go on goals scored, surely.
I'm just asking a question, Lubo.
That's right. Well, you mentioned goal scorer. Well, the best goal scorer is Shearer, isn't it?
Can you throw GAs? Can you have a look at can you compare Shearer's G plus A versus Harry Kane's G plus A? Is there any chance?
I can look. Sure.
Because I think a striker can be also like you can add a striker's value. It doesn't like on the weighting. Obviously, goals are the most important, but assists are also pretty valuable too, right? So,
yeah,
mind knowing what
I mean, look,
G plus A was.
I mean, Harry Kane 213 goals, 260 goals for Alan Shearer. I mean, it depends how you want to look at it.
Kane was in what, 320 games, I think. And how many games was Shearer? I think Kane was 320.
Yeah, Kane was 322-13. He's got a better goal rate. He's got a better goal ratio.
Yeah.
But does that make him better? I don't know what people want to base it on, right?
Well, normally you work things out on longevity, don't you?
Well, I mean, it's a tough one, isn't it? Because if we're going to do that, at what point do you start chucking in Sergio Aguero into conversations like this, right?
Yeah, it's the problem with subjectivity, mate. Is that we can't all agree.
No, of course, because like if you look, I mean, if we want to look at, I mean, Sergio Aguero, just for example, by the way, Sergio Aguero, I believe, had a bloody good goals to game ratio. Let's have a look what he did for Man City in the Premier League.
But you could also throw into the mix like the value of the impact that they had. Like as brilliant as Harry Kane is in scoring goals, it hasn't manifested into any team trophies and hasn't really manifested. And you could have even made the argument that in the 6 finals we got to, of which I think he participated in 4 of them, or 3 of them, then he didn't really do too much, right? So, like, whereas Sergio Aguero, to your point, Savva, like the most meaningful goal that he scored was the one that took the league title out of Manchester United hands in the 95th minute of injury time that day, right? So, like, in terms of significance of contribution, it's not just about how many goals you score, but what's the value of the goals when you score them.
No, absolutely. I mean, I'm looking here. I mean, Sergio Aguero, by the way, listen to this for a goal record. 275 games, 184 goals. I mean, that's not shabby at all, is it? 275, 184. That's a hell of a lot of goals. I mean, some people will say, what about Rooney, who wasn't an out-and-out centre forward, I suppose you could say. What about, for me, before people have a go at me, I don't think Harry Kane is the best striker the Premier League's ever seen. I think, without hands down, I think it's Thierry Henry. I'm sorry. I think Thierry Henry pisses all over Harry Kane as a footballer. Sorry. Don't shoot me.
Hold on, hang on. You're talking 2 different things now. You're talking football with an all-round skill set as against the goal scorer.
No, I said who's the greatest striker that's played in the Premier League. That was my question. Okay. I think Thierry Henry's better at Harry Kane than everything. That's just my opinion.
By the way, someone said on the comments, where's Angus gone since the Champions League draw? Well, after us discussing Harry Kane, he's definitely dropped off. That's for sure.
Yeah. No, absolutely. By the way, I'm just having a look at some of the goal ratios for games, and Harry Kane's is superb. By the way, Shearer was 0.59. Kane was 0.67. Rooney 0.42. Andy Cole 0.45. I'm going in order of goals, by the way. Aguero's got the exact same goal ratio as Kane on 0.67. Salah has got 0.63. Lampard 0.29. You would expect that from a midfielder. And then Henry has got 0.68. So Henry's got a better goal ratio than the others.
So he's got the best goal ratio. Shearer's the best goal scorer. I think so. If you're working on facts.
I mean, if we're going by the goal ratio, yeah, I'm just going down the chart to see who's got. I mean, Jamie Vardy at 0.43 is in there. Hasselbank's got a good one, 0.48. Sonny's is 0.39, which is similar to Keane's, who is 0.37. Similar to I'm just looking to see if I can find Haaland. I don't know if he'll be on this list. I don't know if he's scored enough. Do you know who's 21st on the list? Raheem Sterling. Romelu Lukaku, 0.44. That's a good ratio. Ian Wright. Sonny was 0.39. Just trying to see if I was trying to see if I could find Erling Haaland's on this list, but I don't think he might be on this list.
What about Defoe?
Yeah, Defoe was 0.37, so he was just under Sonny. Darren Bent's on there, 0.38. Drogba, 0.41. Cristiano, 0.44. I was just trying to see if I can find Haaland's, but Haaland's is the best goals to games ratio in Premier League history. Does that surprise you or not?
No. Anyway, listen, Angus is back on because you're talking about Thierry Henry now. So I think he had unsubscribed. He's subscribed again.
Angus cracks me up, man. I've never been one of those fans that suddenly goes, you know what? Someone's saying something bad about my team have lost. I'm going to storm off. I'm not going to be in the chat. I just don't do that. Quinny, I mean, very different footballers in different eras. I mean, if I want a goal scorer, I want Salah. If I want a wide winger in a 4-4-2, I want Ginola. This is the problem. They don't play the same position. Wingers now versus wingers then, Lubo, very different, aren't they? In the 4-3-3 versus the 4-4-2.
Yeah, I mean, look at Bale, the way Bale played wide. You know, that's just inverting in. You know, I mean, the goals he scored cutting in from the right, 25 yards back of the net, was superb.
Sure.
Different type of player than Salah, who plays on the right-hand side as well. Completely different styles.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. By the way, guys and girls, the draw, it's in the adverts of TNT at the moment. So we will be getting back to the Europa League draw in a minute, and we'll find out which side of the draw we're going to be in. I'm going to shamelessly ask for the next 2-3 minutes before that happens. Please, we are 15 subscribers away on the new channel of getting to 200, which is FHTV Plus. Please, I've just put the link in. It is pinned. Here is the link, please. No, that's not the link. Here is the link, please. We are on 185. Please see if you can get that up. That'd be amazing. So thank you very much. Just while it's in the adverts, please. We are on 185. Please see if you can get that up. That'd be amazing.
Joel,
thank you very much.
Joel, was that Daniel?
Just while it's in the adverts, Sean, I can hear me. Sean, I've muted you because all I can hear is me. Oh, is that what my sexy voice sounds like? What a nice voice he's got. Yeah, look, so, I mean, the question, when we start basing players from a different era with players in this era, it's very different. Like, I don't know, what would Ginola do on the left-hand side of a front three now rather than a 4-4-2? I don't know, but all I know is, as a footballer, Ginola was magnificent compared to Salah. As a goal scorer, Mo Salah's a predator. He's a machine. He just finds goals from anywhere. Just before we move on to the Europa League draw, guys, I was sent this from my mate Ben Kaufman. I thought you both might find this quite funny and interesting. So take it away. We're in a boy band, guys. Lubo, make sure you watch this.
It's too late, but I want it that way. Tell me why ain't nothing but a thought. Tell me why ain't nothing but a mistake. Tell me why I never wanna hear you say
Monetization, Savva, monetization.
That's all right. He's made that. No, we're all good. We're all good.
You're going to get demonetized for that, mate, straight away.
What?
The audio.
That's
copywritten, bro.
We'll be all right. I've not made enough money in this. I've not made enough money in this show. So don't worry about it.
It's a fantastic effort from Benny Boy. But yeah, you've just killed your
chemistry. That must have been Ben, eh?
Yeah, Ben loves it. Ben absolutely loves it. I like the ones where Lubo is the manager of a creche. And all the kids are running around him like little Archie Gray's face. And I love it. Lubo loves it. Guys, they are live in Bilbao wherever they are today for the road to Bilbao. They'll probably spend the next 10 minutes talking to people about
what a fantastic new model it is, where we know exactly who's going to get who all the way to the final, and we have nothing to chew over in the next month and a half, 2 months. It's such a terrible system. Don't get me wrong. I don't mind the league system. I quite like the fact that you play 7 different teams, but it's a money grab, and it's obviously a manipulation to make sure that certain teams, on paper at least, will make their way through to the final. Right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I didn't ask you, Sean. You weren't on when we talked about this earlier. Have you got a preference of Alkmaar and Real Sociedad? Do you care at this stage? Should we be beating both?
I think Sociedad's a more difficult team. They're just more pragmatic. They're just more I actually think that the Alkmaar game will be a bit of a ding dong. Both teams want to have a go, and I would probably rather see AZ Alkmaar, but I think we should be able to beat both of them. I don't think Sociedad are the same. Like losing Mikel Merino, last season everyone was saying, "Oh, go and get Zubamendi." I was on board that, but I also said you got 2 actual sixes there that are class players in Mikel Merino. He goes to Arsenal, hasn't had a great season until obviously he scored a couple of goals, whatever, the other day, but he hasn't settled in brilliantly into the Premier League. And now Arsenal fans are saying, we'll go and get Zubamendi, reunite the double pivot, which I'd be interesting to know what that means for Declan Rice's position. Obviously, thinking that Thomas Partey might be out. Not to get off the topic, but Zubamendi is also not as good of a player in a system for Sociedad without Mikel Merino next to him. So it's I don't see Sociedad as if this was Sociedad of last season, I would say we probably would really struggle. But I think we're better than both. But I'd rather play Alkmaar.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I agree. I'd rather play Alkmaar. I think Sociedad are capable. I think it'd be a nice way of saying it. They're capable if they want to, but they're not. It's not the Real Sociedad I saw last year. And look, Zubamendi and Merino. Sometimes you get those partnerships that just work. Sometimes
Sonny and Cher, right?
Sonny and Cher. Yeah, why not? Sheringham and Klinsmann. Sometimes you get them, right? But listen. What's going to be more interesting, Lubo, as we alluded to earlier, I'm more concerned on what's the side of the draw going to be. I think Spurs should be beating Sociedad or Alkmaar. That's not my concern. My concern, as you know, Lubo, is the moment we come up against a Roma, a Bilbao, a Lazio, when we come up against these clubs over 2 legs, that's where I worry.
By working on that logic, you would rather play Bilbao in the final on their pitch than in a semi or a quarter?
I mean, I'd rather not play Bilbao at all. They're my favourites for the tournament.
Yeah.
I don't want to play Bilbao. Listen, I would rather attempt a one-off game against Bilbao than 2. Put it that way. But if it's the final at their gaff, I mean, that's a.
Will they have more fans there because it's their gaff, or?
No, they won't. Well, they shouldn't.
No. And you know that Tottenham fans will go in there hundreds of thousands like they did.
Oh my God.
Madrid, right? Yeah.
Chelsea went to Munich, didn't they, and beat Bayern Munich on their own grounds in the Champions League final.
Yeah. Don't you think it's more about the comfortability factor, i.e., They know the changing rooms, the ground. They know. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know that sounds silly, but it's comfortable. It's like they're going to play a home game rather than not. I don't think it's about.
Sav, the home and away dressing rooms have already been allocated to one side of the draw. Whoever's on, I can't remember whether it was orange or silver. I think it was silver. Whoever's silver gets the home dressing room.
That is just what's ruining football. I said that money is the biggest problem in football. Actually, the orange and silver draw of the dressing rooms at this stage of the competition, that sort of decision is just like, what are we doing here? The micromanagement of just unnecessary things is silly, Billy.
But by the way, Matt, I'm so sorry. I know you're like my daily troll. Nah, I'm not having this, mate. No. We are not underdogs against Sociedad or AZ Alkmaar. I am not hearing that in any way, shape, or form. You come in here every day and tell me how magnificent our manager is and how magnificent Spurs are. You tell me to be positive, and then your first comment is, this makes us underdogs. We're not playing Roma or Bilbao. It will be Alkmaar or... I'm not having that, guys. I'm not having that we're underdogs. Are you? Underdogs?
No. Listen, with Alkmaar, we should be...
Injuries.
Could be, but Spurs and Sociedad have had very similar seasons, so there's no reason for us to be termed.
Isn't everyone like making this giant assumption that Tottenham are going to get players back? Like in the last month, I've heard about all this returning players, and then in the Liverpool game, he was supposed to have 3 players back, didn't, and ended up losing Richarlison. Which, no disrespect to the man, in fact, all disrespect. I can't stand him as a player, but his loss wasn't really a huge loss for our team, in my opinion. But he is. Like, it's just, I don't necessarily subscribe to this notion that we're going to only get stronger with our team roster throughout the rest of the season. History will tell you that there's still 3 injuries more to come. And you just hope that it's not to a Pedro Porro. You hope it's not to a Jed Spencer. You hope it's not to Vicario.
I agree, Sean. But at the moment, we're only missing 3 of our first teamers, right?
That's
at
right.
The moment, if we're going to break that down, if we're going to be brutally honest, at the moment, Van der Ven, Romero and Solanke. The only, we could talk to Dogi. I don't think he's better than Spence. So at the moment,
he's fit again.
Well, no. Okay. So at the moment, it is Van der Ven, Romero, and Dogi. Romero will be back shortly because Argentina have a game coming up, and we just know he'll be back. So at the moment, look, any football team, we're going to get 2-3 injuries at a time, 4 injuries at a time, 5 injuries at a time. For now, we've got no excuse for me. This excuse of injuries for me has to now fade away. You brought in Danso, who I think is a very capable centre-half as well.
Yeah, he's been good, really good.
I think he has been good. So I don't think that, for me, I'd keep Danso in when Van der Ven and Romero are fit. Controversial. Actually, I don't think it is from my point of view. I'd keep Danso in the team.
Can I ask you a question about Romero and Van der Ven? I posited it last night to the chaps on my show. Liverpool come out, or stories from The Athletic, I think it was this week, who I wouldn't necessarily are people that just make up stories. They're saying that Liverpool have got the top 3 centre-back choices in the summer to replace, or long-term replacement for Van Dijk is Van der Ven, Huijsen, or Guéhi. And Guéhi and Huijsen obviously are on Tottenham's radar. Would you guys be okay on paper selling Mickey Van der Ven for big money, given that the justification being, even if you keep him and he's a 40% games a season guy, then you're still going to need to go and get someone that's of Guéhi's level anyway, because you know that he's not going to be there, and you can't therefore have a lower tier left-sided centre-back behind him. Or would you rather sell Romero? Of the 2, would you be okay? Would you be okay selling one? And if so, who would you rather sell if both of them are okay to be sold?
I'd sell both. I've come out and said this before. I'd sell both. Sean, the thing for me, if you're building a team, I don't see how you can build a solid, reliable team unit moving forward on 2 players that never play football. And as I worked out the other day, mate. And by the way, the draw is going to be starting soon. They're just talking to players, ex-players in suits and stuff at the moment, so don't worry about that. For me, Sean, the worry is since Van der Ven has joined, he's only played 51% of games available to him in all comps. And since Romero
less, isn't he? Yeah.
That was a couple of weeks ago, so it will go down and down the more he misses. But when I worked out the other week, and this will probably have crept into the 50% as well, right? Romero's played at 2 weeks ago which was 4 games ago, he'd played 61% of all games available across 4 years or 3.5 years. For me, I think if you want to build a team, it can't be built on 2 injury-prone footballers. One of them at least needs to be like a Guehi who doesn't miss football. It needs to be a guy where you go, this is our guy. So it's not that I don't rate Romero. It's not that I don't rate Van de Ven. I think they're decent. I think they're good centre-backs. I don't go overboard about them. But for me, you can't do it. It can't be. Look at Liverpool. Look at Arsenal. Saliba and Gabriel. I think Saliba missed a little bit of football last season, but look at that centre-back pairing. You build the defence around it, right? You build a defence around it. We can't build a team around Van de Ven and Romero because they never fit. I know that annoys people. I know people go, oh, you don't get it. But how can you plan for a season, Lubo? How can you plan the season with that?
I'd take the money for Van de Ven, and I love Mickey. I think he's a fabulous centre back. If he's got a hamstring weakness, this is gonna blight his career. And you've got, for me, going by Guehi, you've got Vuskovic coming in, who is meant to be an absolute beast. This kid, I think he's going to be 18, and he's already played in 2 or 3 different countries. He's been in Belgium. He's been in, was it Croatia he came from?
Yes, Vuskovic you're talking about.
Yeah. This kid isn't playing for academies. Isn't playing under 18 football in the academy. He's been playing men's football since he was 16. And this kid
but he can't come in and be the main guy, can he? He can't. We can't have Vuskovic.
If he's that good, we may have just picked up an absolute diamond here.
Oh, but Lubo, we're doing it again.
We may have picked up a diamond. Let's see. You don't know. He is very highly rated.
But isn't it the fact that we don't know? Like when are we going to, as a fan base, go, right, we've got enough children. Right?
But you've got enough children. You've also got Danso there. You've got Phillips and Dorrington coming back. There's no shortage of centre-backs.
Is Phillips and Dorrington good enough? Are Phillips and Dorrington good enough? I subscribe to them. I'm positive about Vuskovic. I think he could, like you say, I don't know, but he could be. But Phillips and Dorrington, really? I mean, I think that I think that those players won't be ever first team regulars for Tottenham.
Big up, Jess. But what I don't get, Sean, is my whole point there was about you've got to build. Like I used Arsenal as a basis. They build everything around Gabriel and Saliba, right? And those two, I'd love to see a stat of how much football those two have missed in the last 2 seasons, 3 seasons.
Yeah, not much.
Right? But if we're going to build a centre-back partnership, it can't be with Vuskovic. Like, it can't be, well, we've got one season pro. It can't be, surely.
Huyson, is this the Bournemouth centre-back, isn't it? It's the Bournemouth guy. Yep. He's 19?
Yep.
He's 19. If Liverpool are going to splash big money on a 19-year-old to put straight into their first team, then why is it a bad thing? Why are we completely disregarding Vuskovic at 18, who's had 2 years in other pro leagues?
Because Huyson's played in top leagues across Europe for the last couple of years.
Well, so has Vuskovic.
No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. How?
Well, they're decent leagues. They're not. We're not talking MSL or Scotland, for heaven's sake. We're talking proper European leagues. It might not be France or Spain or Italy, but he's still playing at a decent level.
But Lubo, we're back to this thing again where we want everyone to be 18 in our football club.
No, we don't. I'm not saying that. Guehi's not 18. Bring Guehi in as well.
But surely you would play Guehi and Danso. You wouldn't just promote Vuskovic immediately.
Well, listen, how good to have 3 top centre-backs, please God, who are fully fit most of the season. That would be wonderful, wouldn't it?
I agree, but before we call Vuskovic a top centre-back, we have to see him, right? Surely, like when what happens quite a lot at the moment is I get loads of videos sent to me going, Vuskovic scored another goal today. I'll be honest, guys. I don't give a crap how many goals he's scoring from corners for another team in the Belgian league or whatever. I want to know, can he defend? What's he going to be like when Ange gets him, right? If Ange is here and plays this high line, what's he going to do when he doesn't?
Well, he hasn't got any legs, has he? He's not fast, that's for sure.
But Sean, imagine him now in this formation where you've got
would Sven Botman suit this system, right? I don't know Sven Botman, but he's 6'7" or whatever, 6'5", right? Would you want Sven Botman in a system that sticks your halfway line, sticks your defenders in the halfway line? Probably not. But you know, then at the same time, mate, you don't have to use him in every game, do you? There's going to be certain games where Boskovic can come off the bench. If you're up against Liverpool and you're defending a 1-goal lead or whatever, then you need someone who's good in the air or who can nick a goal.
Just quickly, video complete. You're not listening to me. That is it not alarm bells for everyone that this guy has played less than 50% of games for Tottenham in 2 years, and he's that age? Is it not alarm bells for anybody that he's had
And it's
four
the fourth
major
of the
hamstring
same
injuries?
Yeah, same injury, same leg
in his career. You're not listening, video complete. I think VDV, again, I want to see him in a proper back four, but I think VDV's got all the tools to be a great player. But it doesn't mean anything if he's not on the pitch. Like,
actually, flip that though. Do you think Van der Ven would be as good in a low block team? Do you think people would be talking about him as because I don't think he's great in the air. I'm not pooing on him. I love him. Yeah,
Sean, I'm going to come back to that. They're doing the draw. So Olympiacos.
I've actually got to jump. Sorry, guys, I've got to jump. Lovely to see you. We'll see you soon.
Cheers, Sean. Thank you very much, mate. Take care. Bodo Glimt will play Olympiacos. Bodo Glimt will play Olympiacos in the first Europa League game that's been drawn out. Bodo Glimt. Yeah, Matt, we're not signing Bastoni, mate. Please come into the reality. This guy is just so... Rangers are out, Lubo. Good old Glasgow Rangers are out. And they will play Fenerbahce. Jose's Fenerbahce, the first leg in Turkey. That's going to be a great couple of games, I think. That's going to be brilliant atmosphere. The Turkish atmosphere and then the Glasgow atmosphere. The next game is Eintracht Frankfurt. Frankfurt. See, Matt, you're not listening. You're not listening. I can't deal with you today. Please go and watch another channel. Ajax versus Frankfurt. Ajax are playing Frankfurt. That's a good game. That should be a couple of good games. But it was really simple, my reasoning, wasn't it? It's my face. It's not that I don't rate him. Just doesn't listen. Olympic Lyonnais, or better known as Lyon, are going to be away. Sorry, Lyon, the first leg is away to Steaua Bucharest. Steaua Bucharest versus Lyon.
Okay.
They seem to draw the away team first. It's so weird.
No, because you've got each of the teams are seeded, so.
I see. Right, here we go. Tottenham Hotspur have been drawn out. Some team from North London. Tottenham Hotspur. Gary Mabber there. We are going to play AZ Alkmaar again. Tottenham versus AZ Alkmaar. No, I don't want any excuses. We have to go through to that next round.
Hang on. So Sav, right? But the four that you've just drawn out, that's Tottenham's half of the draw.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah. Hang on. Yeah. Man United are away to Real Sociedad in the first leg. So Spurs will be at home to Alkmaar. First leg. I'll get to that in a minute.
No, Spurs are away first. All the seeded clubs that got through are at home in the second leg.
Okay. All right.
But
Lazio.
If that's how it works. I think that's how it works. We're in so Lazio, Bilbao, Man United are all in the other half of the draw.
Lubo, you've really stopped me doing the draw here, haven't you? I'm trying to read the draw. Lazio will play away at Poznan. Lazio will play away at Poznan. And that means that Athletic Bilbao will be away in the first leg, and they will be playing Roma. What a game that is! Oof. That's the draw of the tie. That's the tie of the draw for me. Sorry. Athletic Bilbao versus Roma. Now we get to the interesting part. We're going to find out who plays who in the next round, depending on who wins. Listen, I think we've had a very, very easy run. Listen, at the moment,
it's been good.
Long may it continue. We've had a very easy draw. Very easy so far for this date. Here is the winners of round 16, game 2. Right, game 2. That is, bear with me. Come on, show. Oh, they're going to show it all at the same time. So what will happen is in the next round, it will be, come on, show us on the screen quicker. Bodo Glimt or Olympiacos will play Poznan or Lazio. So I would think Lazio will be very happy with their half of the draw at the moment. I think Lazio will be very... We've got AZ Alkmaar. Yes, I will be doing it this time. Yes, so I think I was ill last time or something happened last time. The next group, the next block is... Come on, put it on the screen. The next block is Spurs or Alkmaar versus Ajax or Frankfurt. Spurs or Alkmaar versus Ajax or Frankfurt. We're missing the big guns here. We're getting a very nice draw here to this semi-final. The next draw, I mean, we can't turn our noses up at any of this so far, Lubo.
Yeah. Well.
The next draw is Fenerbahce or Rangers versus Roma or Bilbao. You're on mute. That should be very interesting. Fenerbahce or Rangers versus Roma or Bilbao. Well, we're definitely getting it. We've definitely had the easiest draw all the way through so far. The first 8 games, we were gifted. Now these two look decent as well. Frankfurt are okay. Since they've lost Marmouche, they've only won 1 in 5. Lyon or Bucharest will play Sociedad or Man United. That's interesting. That's not bad for Sociedad or Man United as well. And the last ones are being drawn now. Come on, guys. We're only 5 away, by the way. 5 away from 200 on FHTV Plus. Don't forget, I'll be live at 3 p.m. with Lee Gunner. I'll be asking him his thoughts on Arsenal's draws. So the last games, before we get to the road to the final, the last games will be either, put it on the screen. They've not shown it. They didn't show it. If anyone's watching TNT, they've just royally messed that up. We'll get to the road to the final in a minute. But I mean, I'm very comfortable with that. I'm very comfortable with that. There should be 0 excuses. Stop, Matt. I'm going to block you if you keep being an idiot. Stop it. Just stop it. We should not be underdogs against these teams. Stop it. You're getting really silly. Stop it. I'm getting really bored of you now. Everything I say, you just say the opposite. Everything I say. Yeah, Lubo's on the phone, guys. I'm pretty sure Lubo's on the phone. So let's have a look at how these draws are going to work. We should beat them, though. It doesn't matter whether... I'm not saying it'll be easy. We should be beating them. So let's have a look at how this draw works, okay? Come on. The draw is going to work like this. Here we go. So... AZ Alkmaar versus Tottenham and Ajax versus Frankfurt. So the winners of the 2 games will meet in the quarter-final, okay? Bodo Glimt and Olympiacos are on the same side as us, as are Poznan and Lazio. So the winners of that game will meet in the semi. So it could potentially, if we got through, you're looking at possibly Lazio in the semi-finals. On the other side of the draw, Fenerbahce or Rangers will play the winner of Roma and Bilbao. And Bucharest and Lyon are in the same draw as Sociedad and United. So you could potentially be looking there at a Roma, Athletic Bilbao in the semis with either a Lyon, a Sociedad or a Man United. So for Spurs to win this, you're going to come up against 2 good teams at some point. But at the moment, Lubo, if I said to you, Alkmaar and then either Ajax or Frankfurt, you would have taken it, wouldn't you? Realistically?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Pain in the arse. Sorry, I jumped off quickly. My pal phoned me because he's got flights. He could have booked flights from Luton to Amsterdam for that Thursday morning, but Ajax are at home first, aren't they, in the first leg? So I don't know. We don't know until UEFA set the times up and the dates. We can't book a flight, which is a pain in the backside because Alkmaar's an hour from Ajax, so they may decide to have the games over 2 nights. Might be a Wednesday night for Spurs, possibly.
Yeah. Well, we'll wait and see what happens there. But I mean, look, I'm glad. Look, the most difficult team on our side of the draw. I think the other side of the draw's got the bigger guns. I think
Yes.
This has been very kind to us. The big guns on our side, you would say Lazio. I don't know if I'm willing to put Ajax in there anymore. I don't think Ajax are what they were. On the other side, you've got Fenerbahce, Roma, Bilbao, Sociedad United, depending on what form they're in at that time. But it makes for good reading. It makes for good reading. And Ange has got, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games to win a Europa League.
That's all.
7 games to win the Europa
Say
League.
it quickly.
7 games.
Okay.
7 games. 7 games. So yeah, look, it's gonna be interesting, Lubo. But look, we've definitely got the advantage. I mean, Alkmaar away first, at home. I mean, I feel like we should be winning that. I really do, mate.
Definitely. I think that's a good draw. It's a good draw. It's a good draw. Listen, Alkmaar put 6 past Gala. I've said all along that I don't think you could compare. You could actually honestly work out how good Gala were that night because we had 3 of our first 11. I know me and you we've clashed on that point.
Yeah.
But we did only have 3 of our first team in. And they ripped us to pieces. They're now out. Alkmaar have got Parrott, who's scoring goals for fun over there. So that will be interesting to see how he does over 2 games. He was pretty anonymous at the lane. And I thought we made hard work of beating them. We only beat them through a penalty, but we should have beaten them by a lot more. We were a lot better than them on the night. We just couldn't beat the low block. And I think Forster might have made 1 or 2 good saves, but no, Frankfurt. I've seen something in the comments here that Frankfurt haven't lost for 7 games or something, and someone else said they've won 1 in 5 since Mamouche left.
It was me who said they've won 1 in 5. They've won 1 in 5. Yeah, they're Look, Frankfurt are a good team. If you watch Frankfurt play, they play some really good stuff. Now, this is what Frankfurt will do, with or without Mamouche, obviously because Mamouche is gone, but they will attack. They will get at us. They will overload down the channels. They do create a lot of opportunities, Frankfurt. But again, I don't look at any teams on our side of the draw other than Lazio and think, wow, super hard. I think it would be embarrassing not to make the semis from here. That's just my opinion.
I don't know about that. I don't know about embarrassing, Sav. I mean, one step at a time. Listen,
who there shouldn't we be beating?
But this is Tottenham. You don't know what Tottenham's going to turn up.
Well, make your mind up. Are we going to win it or not? Like, I don't get it. 1 minute we're going to win it. The next minute you're telling me it's Tottenham.
I didn't say we were going to win it. I said we're 1 of 5 or 6 that are in the shout for it, in the conversation. So, listen, you hope we turn up and you hope we get through. Alkmaar, I'd be disappointed if we went out to them. But let's take it 1 round at a time. I don't want to be looking further forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Lazio might get knocked out. You never know. Bilbao might get knocked out.
Sure. Look, I'm going to say this. I think that the winner of the Roma Bilbao game will definitely make the semi-final. I think they will beat Rangers or Fenerbahce over 2 legs.
Can you imagine Jose in the final? That'd be brilliant.
I was going to come to this and say, this is Jose, right? If anyone can listen, also something we've got to take into account here, Lubo. If Roma get past Bilbao, they could have Fenerbahce, which is Jose's last 2 teams. Fenerbahce versus Roma. There's good stories all over the place. I do not want Fenerbahce in a one-off game. I do not want to play Jose Mourinho in a one-off game.
Oh
He
my
is the
God! What is it?
master.
Ange's manager would have no chance.
That's my point. If Ange is in a one-off game with Jose will out-tactic him for fun. He will, even if he has to stink it out, if he has
So
to go
one sec,
whatever.
one sec. It's my travel agent for this.
Lubo, I'm going to end the show anyway. I am going to end the show. Guys, please join me. By the way, I'm sorry. Big up to James Watts, who said, Ian, what was it like to watch Jimmy Greaves? I don't know. Did Lubo catch Jimmy Greaves? We'll get to that in a minute. James, very, very, bless me. Very, very generous, James. Thank you very much for that. I'll come back to this comment in a second when Lubo's off the phone. But guys and girls, I will be live at 3 p.m. So 2.5 hours, I will be live with Lee Gunner. And we're going to have a chat for an hour about football. And please, if you haven't, I really do appreciate everybody that has subscribed to my other channel. It is going to be videos about all things football. After a while, just talking Spurs, you need a break. You need to be able to talk some other things. You really, really do. A big up, Philly. I completely agree. We'll go back to that super chat in a minute. Philly, I completely agree. We should not be getting knocked out. If we're being talked about as the favourites, Ajax, Frankfurt and Alkmaar shouldn't be stopping us. But we'll see. This is Spurs. Lubo was right. This is Spurs. We'll see how we get on. If Lubo doesn't finish in a couple of seconds, I am going to end the show because I really do have a few bits to do. Lubo, I am going to end the show, but James Watts has asked this in a super chat. Said, Ian, what was it like to watch Jimmy Greaves?
Fantastic. What a player. What a player.
Better than everything we've got now? Was he better than Harry?
Ooh. As a finisher, yes. He didn't have Kane's ability as an all-round player. But I mean, he picked the ball up on the halfway line. And you've got to remember that players today play on carpets, in effect. The pitches are so flat and smooth and so brilliantly kept and so well irrigated. You know, they were mud heaps, and he was like a ballet guy. It was just fantastic. He was just an amazing player. I'm so sorry that I missed people like Blanchflower, John White, unfortunately. I saw Dave Mackay. He was brilliant. I saw him pick up Bremner by the throat. Saw some super players. Jimmy Robertson was good. Mike England's great centre-back. I saw some really good players. Kinnear and Knowles. Baker and Henry, I think, had gone when I first saw my first game in '65. But I must look up the team in it for that first game that I saw. But Greaves and Gilzine scored 5 that day. It was just fantastic. Fantastic. Was Ewan Green's better than Archie Gray? Just about.
Yeah. Look.
All those taking the piss out of Archie Gray, come back to me in 2 years' time. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, but what we'll say to you is wait for 2 years until he's actually done something before you praise him to the level you do. Guys and girls, I'll ask for one. Forget C to the false childish comment in the chat. He hasn't understood that the other channel I've done is a video channel purely for videos, no lives. So when idiots like this just say stupid shit, just ignore them. I hate when people like this think they're funny. They're not. Guys and girls, I'll ask shamelessly one last time. I'll put that link in the chat. If you haven't, there's 366 of you in here. There's 203 subscribers on that channel. Guys, girls, come on. 204 subscribers. Come on. The link is there. Who will push that button for me right now in the last couple of seconds of this show? We should be getting that to 250. I'm sure some of you haven't smashed that button. Lubo, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate you.
I've worked out my board of directors now, when the Qataris phone up. That was a bit of fun.
How we laugh. As I said, thank you very much to everyone who has liked and subscribed on this channel and on my second channel. I really do appreciate you. I will be back with Lee Gunner at 3 p.m. That's going to be a very interesting conversation. And tomorrow I will be back at 1 p.m. Tottenham Hotspur versus Ipswich at Portman Road. I'm sure Lubo will be with us at some point. And then on Sunday, I've got 3 bits of content. We've got a morning show. Then I've got the Man City Liverpool game on Big Up at 4:15, and then Spurs review on Sunday night. So a busy weekend of streaming for me. Lubo, thank you very much. Take care, everyone.
Pleasure.
Much love. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Has anyone seen Angus?